Baltimore's a shithole. Let's start with that.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, April 30th, 2015. Time for your Gitmo Nation Media Assassination, episode 717.
This is No Agenda.
Wearing the Helm of Jade, size 15 armband, and broadcasting live from the Crackpot condo in FEMA Region 6 in the capital of the Drone Star State. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where I'm in the Tower of Truth, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Well, you wrote that down, didn't you?
No, I just thought of it.
Good one. Tower of Truth.
Tower of Truth. Somebody sent a tweet in, and I was retweeting saying, listen to this show. It's a good news rundown without the underpinnings of politics.
The Tower, hashtag Tower of Truth.
Hash browns.
Oh, yes. It's almost May.
Yes, tomorrow is May.
Do you know what May is?
May Day.
Masturbation month.
Says who?
Well, I wish. It's generally known.
What do you mean generally known?
Look it up.
I've never looked it up.
Look it up. It's real, man.
Yeah.
Look that stuff up.
My Google history.
Well, I
spying on everything I do.
May is masturbation month. Masturbation helps you combat stress, eases tension, relieves pain, aids sleep, boosts your self-esteem. Plus,
says who?
Well, sex with Emily.
How can it boost your self-esteem?
Plus, exploring your own pleasure preferences helps you figure out exactly what you like and how you like it so you can share that formula with a partner.
Uh-huh.
May is masturbation month. I wish it was by presidential proclamation.
That sounds like a public service announcement. This is NBC.
WNBC on masturbation month. Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody, that's tomorrow, so everybody get ready.
Start, yeah. What is that ranch hand stuff you got again?
I wouldn't want to get that. Don't get that stuff on you.
No, the ranch hand lubricant?
Oh, it's just so slippery. In fact, you got to be careful with this stuff. It's like if you spray something in the kitchen, you say there's a squeaky thing on your refrigerator, and a little bit of it gets on the floor. Mm-hmm. You never get it off, and it's so slippery that you'll be falling on your ass for about a month.
Okay. So be careful. Be careful. Be careful.
That stuff.
Use with caution.
Yeah.
I did something interesting last night. I was invited to a star party.
I thought you went to a Obama bot dinner.
No. That's next week.
Mm.
Yeah. Star party.
A star party from all the celebrities there in the Austin area.
No. This was organized by Dana Falconberry and the Night Blooms. Dana Falconberry is pretty well known in Austin.
Is that a band?
The Night Blooms is a band, but Dana Falconberry is just a solo
singer?
Artist. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And
guy or girl, Dana?
Girl. Cute. Super cute. And one of our producers, a friend of mine, Mark Hall, we've talked about, he's a documentary filmmaker. He did the sushi tuna documentary we talked about. You don't remember. And he's working on some, we communicate a lot. He has good inside info. He's the guy that has the place in Panama. Does that ring a bell?
Where?
In Panama.
Oh, right. You were going to go there and visit with him.
Yeah. There you go. So he said, look, I got an extra ticket to this star party. And it's only like 50 people can be there. And it's really...
Why?
Well, because it's one of these hush-hush things, apparently. I had no idea what to expect.
Okay.
So we show up, and this is at the... what is the name? It's a small park near Bee Caves here in Austin. It's a little bit outside of the city.
So Dana Falconberry looks a little like Justin Bieber.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. And so it's a common, and it's free, but you can register online, and after 50 people, whatever it is, that's it. And there's no other promotion or anything. It's just set up by these girls, and we didn't really know what to expect, but we heard there would be some telescopes. Okay.
Star party.
It was a combo. So
you get to look at the stars.
Yeah, the Austin Astronomical Society was there. I realized it had been 40 years since I looked through a telescope at anything in the sky. When's the last time you looked at through a telescope?
I have a telescope.
But when's the last time you looked through it?
Probably a month ago.
Oh. What'd you look at? The Neighbors?
I usually look at, well, actually, now that you mention it, it's got enough of a boost that you can, from here, if it's a real clear day, you can look into the office buildings in San Francisco.
Oh, well, we were looking at Jupiter, and I can't recall ever seeing Jupiter with the naked eye, well, through the telescope with it, you could see the moons and everything. It was really nice. And these guys, they had, one of them had like this homebrew lo-fi thing. It must have been a 10-inch diameter made out of a big plumbing tube, and like a plastic milk crate was the stand, and it was of course didn't have any motor to so you could only watch for 40 or 50 seconds before whatever you're looking at moves out of view. It was really cool, and they were telling me how they they order these lenses, 18-inch diameter, a mirror I should say, and it's hand polished by this guy. I had no idea. I don't know. It was kind of a very low tech, nice experience, and I encourage everybody to look through a telescope. But then after that, then there was like this path with blue lit moon rocks into the woods, and there's a little shanty with rugs on the ground and log benches, and then Dana Falconberry played for, I don't know, a half hour, 45 minutes or an hour. It was really nice. I should have been with a woman. Mark and I were...
Well, that's okay. It's masturbation month, I think, coming up.
It was kind of spiritual. I think the portal is doing its business.
Spiritual, okay.
The portal is working on me.
Okay, good.
I just wanted to say that it's nice. Get out there and look through a telescope.
Stay up and watch the stars once in a while. Yeah. Sure. If it wasn't for light pollution, we'd have a great show every night, everywhere.
Yeah.
They've been trying to put a stop to it, but I went, to a couple of observatories, the big ones, the big scopes.
There's one 2 hours outside of Austin, and the Austin Astronomical Society runs that, and so I think it's
they probably have meetings all the time. You go up there, look for the big scope.
Well, one weekend per month, it's open to the public.
Yeah, you should go do that.
And I was like, "Hey, man, show me the moon base." And the guy was, and he actually went like, "No, man, there's no moon base." It was. I wish I had recorded it. It was so fantastic.
It was awkward.
I think he was. Oh, he knows.
Everybody knows the moon base is on the other side of the moon. You can't see with a telescope.
Hold on a second. I have to play something for you here. I hadn't expected to do it this early. This is from Mac Break Weekly on the Twit Network discussing, the Apple Watch.
But I do love this. This is just a show-off display. Right? Yeah. Here's the moon, and I can actually go see the dark side of the moon and verify that Adam Curry's wrong. There is no secret U.S. military base on the back there.
It's Israeli moon base. Dork. Israeli, not American. Isn't that nice? We're going to believe the Apple Watch now. Just believe the Apple Watch.
It proves that Adam Curry is wrong.
Just believe the Apple Watch.
You should get a room.
Just believe the Apple Watch. Yeah, and then there was some other stuff going on.
There is.
There's some stuff going on.
There's some stuff going on. Let me read her
letter.
So
just get everybody up, kind of uplift, lift our spirits up for a moment. Think about the moon and the stars. And now let's talk about
I think we should think about the light pollution. You can't see the moon and the stars. Horrible. As a former U.S. Army psychological operations specialist, I'm cleaning off my desk. This is a letter I should have read. It's from David Hazy. My take on those photos of the guys, which I had in the newsletter, of these guys standing and shooting a giant, machine gun with a bipod
in the desert. In the desert.
In the desert. Mm-hmm. A lot of foreigners, even legitimate military, will fire weapons like that because it makes them feel cool.
I can see that.
I have seen legitimate footage similar to the first picture of an actual firefight. There's one good YouTube video where the guy gets shot in the head and tumbles back down the hill.
Nice.
Even in our own military, we had to teach the privates not to hold the guns like a gangbanger. And he was in U.S. Army psychological operations from 2003 to 2007.
Well, if you've ever shot a machine gun, I'm sure you have. And I did it in Iraq, kind of free range. Yeah, total Rambo. I had 2 Glocks, like the Matrix.
Yeah.
You can't do that at a range. That's kind of frowned upon.
Well, they have ranges around the country that are designed for it.
Yeah. Not
None
many.
that I know of
Not
around
many.
here, but they're around.
Well, we had that great one here in Austin, which was open for exactly a month. And they had I told you, Gene and I went there. And they had the open range with all Mad Max beat up cars with tannerite. And so if you hit it just right, it would explode.
Nice.
Yeah, that lasted exactly a month. Okay. All right. But too much fun. Go away.
Too much fun. Shut it down.
Too much fun.
How can this be considered fun by any normal person?
Quick callback to the episode from Sunday, just because I did some of the work. We were discussing Reggie Love, the former body man of President Obama, about the president being a lizard. Well, he doesn't exactly say a lizard.
No, he just says he doesn't sweat.
And First Lady Michelle.
She's under like so much more pressure and scrutiny than the president or anyone else who works in the West Wing.
But at work, it's the president and Love who play the role of the old married couple. What does he do that
Thought that was pretty funny, by the way, just as a single statement.
that drives you crazy?
The thing that used to kill me is that the guy loves
What?
When he gets up and after he snores.
Be quiet.
I'm sorry.
I loves to ride around with.
Shut up.
In the summertime, and I get hot. I start sweating. It's 80 degrees in this car. I'm gonna pass out.
Yeah. See, that was the bit that the president does not use air conditioning in the Beast, and it's 80 degrees in the car. Reggie Love is about to pass out. The president is not even breaking a sweat.
Well, he's hoping he passes out.
Oh God, you are on a roll today. Nice. I'm happy. All right, shall we tackle Baltimore right off the bat? Just get it done so we can do all kinds of other cool stuff?
Okay, I've got some Baltimore clips, I believe.
Now, for those of you who don't know, the media has been showing, certainly in America, but I'm sure it's everywhere in Gitmo Nation, has been showing the Black Utes burning down Baltimore. And that's pretty much all we've seen, although there's been a lot of valiant attempts to...
I think we're seeing a lot of hand-wringing, too.
True. But I have a lot of clips here. Just can I
play one right off the bat?
You need to, absolutely.
Mainly because I'm not sure what it is, but it's the Baltimore. This is a misdirection clip. This is one of those clips I like to always bring out where they're trying to make you look over here. And this is the misdirection on ABC.
Don't look over here. Nothing to see here. Ooh, look at that.
And demanding peace.
My message is that this is our city, that we have to live here.
We will have order and we will have peace.
This is the image they want more Americans to see. A black mother pulling her teenage son from the crowd of street thugs after spotting the young man on live TV. As we entered this city, you could smell the fire in the air, and all night long it was the sound of fire alarms and sirens, one after another. Police having so much trouble keeping up with this. The calls for peace not being heeded so far.
Thanks to Steve for that. I want to bring in our senior justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas, right now. And Pierre, we know now the National Guard coming into place, hoping for calm today. But there has been some criticism of Baltimore officials for not calling out the police and force fast enough.
Yes, good morning, George. There will be some Monday morning quarterbacking on whether they had enough officers out on patrol given Freddie Gray's funeral yesterday. Tensions were going to be high despite the calls for peace. Did the police move quickly enough to stop those stores from being looted? But they were clearly in a difficult position once people started throwing rocks and bricks. It was a dicey situation, George.
And this city has been facing some chronic problems.
George, thugs and misguided young people have hijacked what were largely peaceful protests, and there were some powerful forces at work. Baltimore's poverty rate is nearly double the national average, and it has chronic severe drug and crime issues that lead to violence. Between 2010 and 2013, the city had nearly 900 murders. Some of those years, roughly half those homicides did not get solved. And you throw in the fact that the police department has had a difficult relationship with the black community in that town, paying out millions due to allegations of misconduct and excessive force, and right now it's a witch's brew. Given what we're seeing, there's going to be tremendous pressure on the president and his new attorney general to engage publicly on this issue. Baltimore is only 40 miles from the nation's capital.
That's right. So far, they're calling it a local issue, but you're exactly right. The AG briefed the president yesterday. Pierre Thomas, thanks very much.
What part did confused you?
Well, first of all, this is pretty much of a black town. has a black mayor. It has a black police commissioner. It has a chief of police, and it has 70% black cops. But the way they keep presenting this is like a Ferguson situation where you're dominated by,
exactly.
The white man Republican is responsible somehow.
Well, hello.
Vote Democrat.
Well, hold on. That's the fallacy. That has been the leadership of Baltimore has been Democrat since 1967.
Right, that's true. 1967 has been all run by Democrats.
And who is the a-hole responsible? Who's their representative?
Name it.
It's that douchebag, Cummings.
Oh, Cummings, right. Cummings, the douchebag.
Listen to this. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, I got one more, just to remind people what's going on with a lot of this. Play the Baltimore Democrat formula clip.
Say they will not.
By the way, wait. And when you play it, then tell me what you think I'm trying to bring out in this formula clip.
Hold on a second. I just got to restart that. Hold on. The formula. Okay.
Say they will not let this define them. Instead, we're seeing people handing out voter registration cards, urging the young people of this community to change their own future. This is a city on edge. There is no question about that. But the people here have made clear they don't want what happened last night to ever happen again.
Yeah, and they're telling them to keep voting Democrat, I guess.
Yeah, voting. So they're out with the same formula that they had in Ferguson. Oh, they vote. If you vote, we won't have these problems anymore because they don't vote out the white men. There's no white men left.
Yeah, what's even crazier, because I really studied this just from the media perspective. The MSNBC is all in on this is black versus white, and I have some outrageous clips. Fantastic, really, for the show. Okay. But there's also a war between it hasn't really surfaced yet, although I'm seeing it between MSNBC and CNN, where MSNBC is saying CNN are the racist white news network. They're not really saying, but the Caucasian news network. Let's just call it that.
Caucasian news network.
Let's start first with Erin Burnett. And, but she's so disappointing to me. She was so fun and nice on CNBC, and now she's just a robot. There's just nothing coming out of her but reading the script, and she doesn't even really look cute anymore. I don't think she's trying. That's just me. Here she is. I forget who she's talking to, but this was a big point that came up.
And Councilman, it's interesting because the mayor of Baltimore, who's come under a lot of criticism, scathing criticism for her handling of this, referred to the people who were doing this last night as thugs. And she got a lot of criticism for that. There were people I saw on Twitter saying, why would you call them thugs? Then they're not going to listen to you. President Obama also called the protesters, in his words today, quote unquote, criminals and thugs. He also carefully chose to use that word. Isn't it the right word?
Now, I was very surprised by what this councilman came back with. And this became one topic of debate between the news networks and amongst themselves.
No, of course, it's not the right word to call our children thugs. These are children who have been set aside, marginalized, who have not been engaged by us. No, we don't have to call them thugs.
But how does that justify what they did? That's a sense of right from wrong. They know it's wrong to steal and burn down a CVS and an old person's home. Come on.
Come on. So calling them thugs, just call them niggers. Just call them niggers. No, we don't have to call them by names such as that. We don't have to do that. That is exactly what we've sent them to. No, when you say come on what? You would call your child a thug if they should do something that would not be what you would expect them to do.
So the president...
Who was that guy? That was funny.
He's councilman. I don't know.
Another one of those.
A lot of councilmen, yeah.
Yeah, but I want to just point this out since we seem to both have spotted this problem. This white versus black thing in a town that's all black, run by blacks, run by the Democrats in '67. I should mention that Detroit had the same problem, and it's now a complete disaster because they never have this back and forth, swapping back and forth thing. The networks that were trying to keep this white versus black thing alive spent an awful lot of time clipping the white governor of the state of Maryland who came through to look around, and they emphasized and white. he emphasized he's just an ugly white guy, and he's wandering around. He's got triple chins. He's got he's got no neck, and he's like the worst case scenario. And so they saw, finally we got something here. This is contrast.
Well, there's a couple more things, but the T word, and now it's the T word. By the way, when I was growing up, thugs were kind of like you remember the three bad guys from the Donald Duck cartoon?
The Beagle Boys.
Yeah, the Beagle Boys. They were thugs. That was what a thug looked like. And I think they were white.
They were kind of hard to tell because they were like
shaded.
A cat or something that was
black. Why don't we just do ourselves a little favor and let's just get the definition of thug and let's see if there is a racial component to it. Violent person, especially a criminal. Oh, here's some synonyms we could use. Ruffian. I think that we should do those ruffians in Baltimore. Hoodlums, gangsters, villain, criminal, but also in historical context, a member of a religious organization of robbers and assassins in India.
Well, she should have, I don't know if I would have been able to do this, but this councilman who comes on and he says, why don't we just use the words nigger instead of thug? She should have called him out on that. The word thug is not a racial term. It's not about a race.
Now, I understand
a racial term.
So I understand what
the guy is disgusting. This person.
Yeah, I think he went in the wrong direction because what he's trying to
pull him out.
Well, it's Aaron Burnett. I'm telling you, disappointing. What is going on here is they're trying to say these are poor people and they're pissed off. And so calling them thugs does injustice to what is happening. And I understand everyone.
That would have been what you just said.
He should have said that. He should have said. And there were some community leaders and councilmen who I thought were very eloquent, and they were starting to get their message through. But let's go now to Alex Wagner from MSNBC, the all-racial network. Really, really out of order what they're doing over there.
To the use of the word itself, Brittany. I mean, I think there are folks like...
And this is, I think, is a writer for Salon Magazine, Brittany.
CNN's Aaron Burnett, who don't understand why...
See, here's the war. Oh, Aaron Burnett. Aaron Burnett doesn't understand. She's white, you see. She doesn't understand.
To the use of the word itself, Brittany. I mean, I think there are folks like CNN's...
Folks. I'm calling racial connotation right there. Folks.
Aaron Burnett, who don't understand why it's offensive and why some people are saying the T word is the new N word.
Why don't they? These are leaders of the black community. If you're on television, why don't you explain? I don't understand. I'm sorry. I don't. When did this become racial? When Tupac put Thug Life tattoos all over him, that's when it became racial or something? This is very disturbing what's going on here.
Give us your take.
Sure. It's rooted in a racialized understanding of black people. So, for instance, no one is calling the police who put this kid in a van and snapped his spine and crushed his voice box thugs, right? They're only applying it to acts of violence against property, right? Acts of harassment, acts of anger. But when are we going to have a language to talk about the systemic violence that white folks do in the name of anti-blackness and white supremacy in this country? We don't have a language for that. So this becomes a way for there to be a procession of both white people in the media who are unsympathetic and also these sort of respectable middle class or upper class black people who are saying we want to maintain law and order. We want to make a distinction between us and the criminals and the thugs, the lower elements of black people. We don't want to be associated with them.
Well, and Derek Clifton on the mic, Ari, says that it's by and large thug is used to describe black perpetrators of violence, very rarely white.
Yeah. When did this happen? I did not receive this memo.
Who is this woman?
This is Alex Wagner. She has that show on MSNBC.
Man, she makes leaps of faith.
Absolutely. And in this context, the use of the word thug has been used to delegitimize the actions of many because of the actions of a few. The fact is, the Black Lives Matter movement has been a peaceful movement. It's been a nonviolent movement. And so by making it seem like everyone in Black Lives Matter is now a thug, you're trying to delegitimize a movement and mischaracterize it.
Brittany, you bring up this point in your writing today, that it is as much a black-white issue as it is a black-black issue. I mean, Stephanie Rawlings Blake is a black woman. Barack Obama is half black, half white, but is identified.
Wait a minute. When did we get to say that? When do you get to say that? I've never heard.
The only good news here is that nobody watches MSNBC.
True.
As a black president, and they're using the word thug. Now, Stephanie Rawlings Blake has since said has apologized. The president seems, if we're to believe the White House,
apologize for using the word thug.
Yeah, you got to apologize. The T word, John. The T word. Don't use the T word.
Press secretary.
By the way, Tits just called. They're pissed off.
Defiantly sort of doubling down on this is how I describe looters and people who perpetrate violence. Loretta Lynch, AG, her first public statement is, I condemn the senseless acts of violence by some individuals in Baltimore that have resulted in harm to law enforcement officers, destruction of property, and a shattering of peace in the city of Baltimore. It would have been nice if she had mentioned Freddie Gray.
That's right.
Okay. Now let me switch back to the Caucasian News Network, CNN. This is Brooke Baldwin interviewing I'm sorry, there's so many people out there. It's kind of irrelevant because the Kanar of the decade comes out.
We talk about training. We talk about having officers. I was talking to a city councilman here last week who was saying, Brooke, these people...
I'm sorry, she's talking to Cummings, I think.
...have to live in the communities. There's no emotional, or there's a lack of emotional investment. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these young people, I mean, I've been talking about this so much, a lot of these young people, and I love our nation's veterans, but some of them are coming back from war. Mm-hmm. They don't know the communities, and they're ready to do battle.
Yeah, they definitely need training. Better training, they need better recruitment.
No, really, Mr. Cummings, really. So Brooke Baldwin says, this is, these violent cops, it's the veterans coming back, ready for battle. Anything dark is a target. I'm making that up, but that's the insinuation. And I'm not sure what happened, but man, she had to retract that. And I think she should be relieved from duty for this.
And good afternoon, I'm Brooke Baldwin here, live in Baltimore in front of Camden Yards, where we're 5 minutes away here from the first pitch.
She sounded drunk there. Did you hear that? She was like, live in Baltimore.
And good afternoon, I'm Brooke Baldwin here, live in Baltimore.
Baltimore. I've had a drink or two.
Maybe.
In front of Camden Yards, where we're 5 minutes away here from the first pitch, and we're going to talk about everything happening here in Baltimore in just a moment. But for the second time today, I just wanted to take a moment and discuss something that I said on my show just yesterday, and I just want to apologize. During my show, I gave credence to the idea that veterans returning from war who were police officers were furthering the problems in communities like these here in Baltimore and nationwide. And I just have to take a moment again today to say I was wrong. I was so wrong to speak the way I did involving our men and women in uniform to perpetuate this false narrative. It's on me. I own it, and I apologize. Please, let's move on.
Wow.
Well, let's stop now and analyze what
Please, let's move on. What do you think?
Well, she obviously this was an example of getting the call from upstairs.
Big time.
Because you don't stand out like a sore thumb.
Twice. She did it twice. She
do this apology unless you're told to.
Yeah.
And not usually told to in a kind way.
Well, the thing that was funny at the end was that let's just please move on. If you get the call from upstairs and you end your apology with that,
well, I think that's just her amateurishness more than anything.
But she's not. If she's professional,
she's on CNN. I mean, how just be honest about it. And I don't know. I mean, you can't say that. If you wanted to be honest about the whole thing about the veterans coming back and becoming cops, the real problem is the militarization of the police. If you want to go in that direction,
well, not yet. Not yet.
That is by the government. The government is
government grants.
Security is doing that to us.
Well, the next clip. I think again MSNBC. I think it again is Alex Wagner. Just mind-boggling that this is. I know. I think they should lose. They should just cut him off all cable. This is ridiculous.
I just keep wondering, is there no benefit of the doubt given to a black person in public space? Because if that is true, if looking at an officer in the eye or if riding an expensive bike in a black body is a thing that inherently generates suspicion, then that, even more than the incarceration state, is the new Jim Crow. That is what Jim Crow was, that black bodies in public space are inherently suspicious.
Yes. I want to mention two things. One, to a point you brought up earlier, speaking
speaking about the political leaders in Baltimore being black. And I think that white supremacy is so insidious and ingrained in this institution that you don't even have to have a white person around, right? No.
All right, let's get this straight. What she's saying, when it's all said and done, as the term would be, what she's saying is that the blacks that run Baltimore since 1967, more or less. I mean, the Democrat blacks, and the community is now the black community run by blacks, and everybody's black. But this is the only place they can seem to get any traction. These black people, the mayor in particular, and I would say the chief of police and the police commissioner, they're white supremacists.
Yeah, well, I think it's even worse. I think what she's saying. I'll roll it back just 15 seconds. I think what she's saying is that white supremacy is so ingrained in our culture that even the black leaders are acting as if there was white supremacy hanging over them.
Well, no, I don't think that's what she's saying. I think because I'll tell you why I don't think that's specifically it. The way sociology is taught in colleges, it tends to there's implications. This comes up in the conversation once in a while. It's not the man, it's the office.
Right.
The implication, and I believe what I'm about to say, I believe is partially, probably true. The idea that the office itself, or these offices themselves, the mayor's office, the chief of police, all this, has been corrupted by the system of white supremacy to the point where, it's not the man, it's the office. Okay. The offices are corrupt, which proves that the system is corrupt, gotcha. Which proves that capitalism doesn't work, and we should all become socialists. I think there's an underlying message here that's trying to subvert the system itself.
Yes. Okay, that is a better version of what I said. Let's listen to the last 30 seconds.
You're speaking about the political leaders in Baltimore being black. And I think that white supremacy is so insidious and ingrained in this institution that you don't even have to have a white person around, right, to have white supremacy play out.
So just pause for a second. Sure. Because what you just said there, I think, it's gonna be difficult for some folks to hear, because
some folks, whitey.
Discourse of white supremacy can often be an academic discourse. That for ordinary folks listening at home.
Ordinary folks. Not like you smarties on the telescreen.
They might say, whoa, did she just call all white people racist? Right. So help us out and kind of tease that out a little bit.
Sure, I'll try my best.
I recognize.
Stupid white people don't get it.
I said it is hard on a TV show, but just to...
Yes. With an institution like American policing that I believe is founded on anti-blackness, on slave patrols, there are things that are so institutionally ingrained in terms of how we police communities that are anti-black.
Wow. Thank you, MSNBC. I need to respond to this. People of Gitmo Nation, watch this very closely. These black Americans you see and the militarized police force on the other side of them, watch this very closely, because you're next, whitey. That's what's going on here. You can sit around and argue if these morons in MSNBC can say it's a black issue. No, white people, you're next. You're next. Poor people. That's what it is. Then we had the controversy of something the mayor said, which I don't know why people do this. She's saying, I didn't say that. You're misquoting me. I didn't say this.
I'll say the very blatant mischaracterization of my words was not helpful today. I was asked a question about...
you'll hear it in a moment.
The property damage that was done. And in answering that question, I made it very clear that we balance a very fine line between giving protesters, peaceful protesters, space to protest. What I said is, in doing so, people can hijack that and use that space for bad. I did not say that we were accepting of it. I did not say that we were passive to it. I was just explaining how property damage can happen during a peaceful protest. It is very unfortunate that members of your industry decided to mischaracterize my words and try to use it as a way to say that we're inciting violence. There's no such thing.
Let's go to the videotape and listen to what the mayor actually said. Kind of hard to find a clip, strangely enough.
We also gave those who wished to destroy space to do that as well.
Sounds like that's what she meant. We gave those that needed space to destroy, we gave them that space. How can that be misquoted?
It's not. And I should mention something. I don't have a clip. It was on last night's news. The guy who is the police commissioner, the black police commissioner of the Baltimore area, was the chief of police in Oakland.
Oh, I did not know.
He was the chief of police during the Occupy movement and during some other moments. And they played an interview with him where he says his style is to let things blow up a little bit. He doesn't want to jump. He has his theory. And if you listen to it, it actually makes some sense. And in fact, it worked in Oakland. You let a riot, you can't just come in with
guns blazing.
This will not be brought up in any of the news shows.
No.
But the theory is this, and I think it actually maybe have worked in Baltimore. You give them space to make a mess, to riot, to show the loot and do the whole thing.
Right.
And you let it kind of calm down, and you let the leaders, the civic leaders, come out and moan and groan about these thugs and all the rest of it. You let that happen, and then you kind of bring the police in later. Or in this case, they had to bring in the National Guard because it seemed to be getting too carried away. But that's the idea. I think his thinking from watching these riots that have taken place in black communities since the 60s or beyond, before that in the 50s, which were completely out of control. I don't think those count. They were different.
Like the Watts riots and stuff?
The Watts riots and stuff.
What was different?
They crack down and it makes it worse. This is like the crackdown on MP3s by the RIAA. Nobody was even downloading music until this
is very
crackdown.
Controversial what you're saying. I would say very few people have taken this position.
I think it's not a popular position. I don't think anyone would like hearing it, but this police commissioner had publicly defended his policies of doing just that in Oakland, and Oakland was never burnt to the ground during this process where it could have easily gotten out of control.
Well, honestly, Baltimore was also not burnt to the ground. I mean, it may look that way, but no, it wasn't burnt to the ground.
No, as much as people would like it to be, and people goading the public to burn it to the ground, this policy of this character may well be the thing that saved Baltimore from being burned to the ground. And nobody's bringing that up because the big narrative that the media loves is the black versus white.
Black versus white.
The Obama administration promotes.
There's something else that I noticed. I was clipping stuff. It was a great night. I hate to say it. Maybe the Portal download or something. This one after another. I'm seeing something, a pattern occur. It may be a space of 15 minutes, and I had to record this and put it all together. It starts with the media darling of this, the black mother who goes out and whoops her black son's ass on television for partaking in the riots. And so there's a little bit of her, then there's three other mothers and some other guy. It was all in the span of 15 minutes, and I had to put it together.
Not even thinking about cameras or anything like that. That's my only son. And at the end of the day, I don't want him to be a Freddie Gray.
As you guys watch that mom,
sure,
your mothers, what do you think?
Way to go, Mom.
Sometimes you have to do what you need to do to take care of your kids. And if she saw fit, just think about walking up to that crowd. She could look at that crowd and tell which one of those kids was hers. So at the end of the day, you need to do what you need to do to take care of your kids. I'd rather me knock his head off to get him to come home than for me to get a call and say they just buried my son. They only know what they're taught. So if you don't teach them peace, then they don't know peace. At the end of the day, your children learn what you teach them.
When you see pictures of like what happened last night, the burning and stuff on television, what do y'all think?
It makes us look bad, man. At the end of the day, what they show on the news and what they show to the media, they show them what they want to see. They don't actually let them see what's really going on.
So I realize what has happened here, and I want to say something to you and to the producing public and the audience at large. You are, as part of your unagreed to, but your duties in the production of this program is you watch a lot of real mainstream stuff. I don't really watch the networks much, but you watch a lot of that. And this is what has happened to you is the equivalent of shrapnel. I mean, you've been wounded by these phrases such as "at the end of the day" that are used incessantly, and you deserve a Purple Heart. So, I do. You have been infected, and we need to clear you of this.
I don't say the end of the day that much.
No, but
I say whatever the case, and no.
But this is so. I just want to recognize your wound, and we'll all work on healing it.
I've been limping.
Now, something about this mother is I want to discuss.
So what about the folks who are saying, oh, well, she was hitting him, and I don't believe in corporal punishment, and
that's Don Lemon.
She shouldn't have been doing that.
Well, I think, are those folks going to go and parent that child? Are those folks going to be arrested?
So let's just stop it right there. I realized that a lot of people I spoke to, and certainly people I saw on television and across all colors and creeds, go, mom, great mom, this is how you raise a child. But
beat them.
You will never see or rarely see a white mother doing that. And it certainly would not be discussed. If a white mom does that, it's, oh, you're horrible to your child. When a black mom does it, yeah, go. And I feel that whole thing, that whole conversation where everyone's going, yeah, she's great. Everyone's full of shit. That is the most racial part of the whole discussion.
Nailed it. Beautiful.
And it's mind-boggling because if I say, oh, I beat my child up the head, you call Child Protective Services, bye. And by the way, I mean, we know that black people hit their children upside the head. White people put them on leashes. I mean, we know how that works. I'm looking at you, Dvorak.
Which reminds me of the Adrian Peterson football case where he was hitting he's spanking his kid with a switch.
Yeah. Yes, I remember this. Of course.
And he was kicked out of the NFL for a year because of this, and he had to be contrite. That's the way I was raised. That's the way everyone around me was raised, and most of the black football players were raised that way. Not most, well, maybe a lot of the black football players are raised that way with parents that were very strict, and they'd bring out the belt or the switch or something and beat the kid for various reasons. It's cultural.
I just want to play this. It's about a minute of Don Lemon going through this conversation, and obviously he wasn't beat upside the head enough by his mom.
So what about the folks who are saying,
folks.
oh, well, she...
And this folks thing, stop with folks. I feel discriminated now. I'm a folk. Folks.
So what about the folks who are saying, oh, well, she was hitting him, and I don't believe in corporal punishment, and, she shouldn't have been doing that?
Well, I think, are those folks going to go and parent that child? Are those folks going to be around when that kid comes home from school and has nothing to do, and, the mom's working 3 jobs and is worried about, the state he's in?
This girl's white, by the way.
Where he's spending his time. So I think it's very easy to stand on a pulpit and criticize from ivory towers or to have opinions that are strong.
So what she's saying really is outrageous, I think. Well, that's easy to criticize moms because we're working 3 jobs and we can't go beat our son upside the head. Well, I guess because black moms don't work, or I don't know. The whole thing was disturbing.
But in such a tense situation, it's really about making sure your kid doesn't get into more trouble in a worse way.
So we can't expect the role models that come around and do the parenting. We can't expect teachers to do parenting. We have to parent our own children. When this stuff kicked off yesterday, for you not to know where your children were and to be sitting down doing something, hanging out with your friends, or your first thing to do was to grab your children, hold them. I had to turn their phones off yesterday, turn the television off, and just sit and talk to them because I have an after-school program. And when things started...
That tells you something.
Well, hold on. Listen to the end, the kicker.
I have an after-school program. And when things started yesterday, I had 16 kids with me. I had to call all of their parents and say, your kids are safe, they're with me. They weren't calling me, though. That's the scary part.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's another conversation. They could have gone off in that direction about the parents. How many parents are like that mom? I think the sympathy for that woman, she's beating her kids, and you can be critical of that kind of.
She wasn't beating him; she was whooping him upside the head, whooping him.
She wasn't
whooping
really.
Him.
She didn't have him down.
She was just whooping him,
punching him.
Yeah,
but I think that there is a second message in here, which is where were the other moms with those other kids that were there? It's like, and this woman, when she came on, she's very straightforward. She's one of those hardworking aggressive black single moms who's raising 5 kids. I think they were all girls and 1 boy. And she did not mince words about, what it takes to do all this. And she's obviously anything but lazy. Extremely responsible.
Yeah, she was fantastic.
She's responsible. Why can't everybody else be that way?
And
that was the main message, I think.
Yes, but
as opposed to why is everyone beating the crap out of their sons?
Right, but the racial part of it is that if white parents do that, well,
I'm actually surprised. I think in a community that wasn't pretty much majority black ruled, like Baltimore, we'll see what happens. But if this was somewhere in California with a bunch of these, dipshits that run a lot of these police departments, they'd have tracked her down, found a son, and then
taken him away.
Arrested him for being in the riots in the first place.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's an easy one. How can we mess up that easy arrest? This is an easy caller.
Shoe in.
But one of the things not mentioned in any of this, of course, is and I think it's reflected in a lot of discussion. People should look into this, which is what is it called? There's a name for this. It's a Black liberation theology, which is the Jeremiah Wright philosophy that Obama and the thugs running the White House.
He's only half a thug.
He's
thug light.
There's a subscription to this idea, and it's actually if you read it, it has a lot of historical basis. Mm-hmm. But at one aspect of the basis, which is what I mentioned earlier, is some of the early black communist philosophers. And I still keep hearing the kind of stuff I used to hear in Berkeley in sociology classes. A subtle socialist communist message, and I think this whole thing, and now I'm beginning to think maybe the entire black versus white discussion that is in the case of Baltimore is fake, but I still think the entire discussion is all about subverting the capitalist white system in favor of some socialist ideal.
I buy into that.
It's very subtle, but
it's not so
well done.
And now we see
it's not so subtle when we look at it. But I think the public
now we're seeing the pattern. The pattern is white kills black. Then we have protests, and we even change. This is the sophisticated part of it. It's hands up, don't shoot. I can't breathe. Black Lives Matter. So there's a lot of messaging going on. Now we see in New York, we see the hijacking of it, and you could have waited for this. Now we see the professionally printed signs. This, of course, was a real outrage, what happened here. And I believe a lot of it is truly poor parenting. I think that's kind of why this mom stood out so much, because kids are just, the school system is broken. Look, Baltimore's busted. And then we see the voter registration drive, and of course Al Sharpton is next. So that is the entire format for this. And I was very happy to see many people in Baltimore getting airtime, although the media did not understand what they were really saying, but just saying, hey, this is a social economic issue. This is poverty. This is not black versus white. And I also saw outrage toward the media. A lot of people who were standing by saying, screw you. You guys are making the problem worse. So there is...
What was that? The mayor says your business, your industry or something?
Yes, your industry. Yeah, your industry.
Your little industry.
2 more clips just stuff I caught. Rachel Maddow propagating the evil police meme. And yes, the police is militarized. Yes, there are issues, but I'm not anti-cop, and I like having the good cops with the bad cops. I'll take it, as long as I'm armed as well.
Situation stays out of control. They're willing to use pepper pellets. They're willing to use rubber bullets and other projectiles. We've seen them using gas today. But if they're picking up things that are being thrown at them and throwing them back, that implies to me, just as a lay observer, that the police feel that the police are a little bit out of control. That they may not be necessarily using disciplined police tactics.
Yes, out of control. Yeah, didn't look out of control to me. And then Toure, of course, this is how MSNBC and these organizations think. Let's put all the black people on because we got to propagate the black meme, black versus white. And they put Toure, this guy. So he's on the streets. He's talking to a gang member apparently a gang member from the Bloods because he's got a red bandana. And the Bloods versus the Crips. Now, the Bloods and the Crips, and I didn't even know that this was everywhere. I thought it was more really a West Coast California thing, but apparently also in Baltimore. The Bloods versus the Crips. Now, they, by this report, have banded together to stop the violence. There's something about this particular gang member that caught my ear.
What's happening going forward, this alliance that we see between the Bloods and the Crips, is that going to continue in the future?
Oh, it definitely is going to continue. That is never going to end in this city because now, based on, like I said, the beliefs that we go by, we've made ties with the right political officials, the right people and everything. We just made the right ties. There's going to be peace here.
Wow! So the Bloods and the Crips, they made the right political connections. That's what he said.
He just said, this is a corrupt situation and we made a deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Toure wouldn't have picked up on that.
No, Toure. I took that out of the clip, but that question was actually prompted to him from the studio. That's how sad that guy is. I don't know what question to ask. Just sad. And there's one other thing I will say, just when it comes to the policies of the city of Baltimore, the stadium, the placement of the stadium. This happens a lot. If a stadium is designed properly into the social layout of a city, it can be extremely beneficial. It is my understanding, and I know no shit all about sports, first of all, and certainly not about how to build a city other than SimCity, that it's in a spot that really routed out. There's really no local commerce there. I mean, it's just a big ass stadium where.
Okay, you can stop. That's not true in any way.
Okay.
In fact, the biggest market area, I've been to Baltimore quite a few times. Baltimore's a shithole. Let's start with that.
Okay.
A horrible place. It's a mess. But that's not true. There's all kinds of shit going around that stadium, including this huge, giant complex of markets and things, which I like to shop at.
Okay.
And when you leave it, you're looking at the stadium.
Well, good. Then we've debunked that. I'm just reading it everywhere. So.
Yeah, no, I don't know what they're talking about. Okay. The stadium probably was used when they built it. Beautiful place, by the way. When they built it, I think they took a bunch of slums out and put that stadium there, but it's not surrounded by apartments or anything, if that's what you're suggesting.
No, the suggestion is different, but it doesn't matter. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, in fact, you can't drive around the Baltimore area without going past that stadium a dozen times.
Right.
Very nicely located, actually. It's just a pretty place. It livens up the area.
So, in summary, what is and I like where we've taken this. First of all, this is not a black on white issue. It is, well, of course, there's racism, but this is a militarized police force that survives on grants from the federal government. Then survive is because they've just gotten used to it, and now they can't do without it. And I do like your analysis of this ultimately being a way to show the capitalist whitey that socialism is the way to go.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the message.
Yeah. And vote Democrat. And vote Democrat. It's worked great since 1967, everybody. It's
keep
fabulous.
it going. Keep those Democrats in there. Now, if anybody wants to get or overseas listeners in particular, wants to kind of get a feel for Baltimore, watch The Wire.
Yes.
It's a very gritty. It's written by a Baltimore Sun reporter and one of his buddies. Of course, they don't work for newspapers anymore. They make too much money otherwise. Yeah. And it is an outstanding series and almost laughably critiqued for being like the epitome of great television.
Right.
And it's a really good. I would say the first season and the third season, watch those and you get a good feeling for it. Second season was a throwaway.
And with that, I'd like to thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, John C., where the C stands for Communist Socialist Agenda, Dvorak.
And in the morning to you, Adam Curry. In the morning to all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water. And And in the morning to all the dames and our knights out there.
In the morning to everybody in the chat room. Good to see y'all at noagendastream.com. And thank you, as always. Our gratitude is deep for our artists, the artists who are always working during the show to produce artwork, which really makes a big difference in getting people to listen and noticing something's new that's happening. Manny, who I do not believe we've used any of Manny's artwork previously. He created the album art for episode 716. That was the Portal episode, and we kind of a little call back to the Uber sources. By the way, I got a great new jingle I don't have an Uber thing right now, but I got a great jingle. I can't wait.
Yeah?
Yeah, want to hear it? It's from Fletcher. Fletcher makes more than just screams.
No, Fletcher's he's a workaholic, that guy.
Listen to this. Yeah, this whole techno thing going on. Something about it that I liked. I'm not.
Yeah, it's a basis for something bigger.
Yeah, I've only had American Ubers. I've had no foreigners. I've got nothing for today. But I did. Before I forget, I did get a note about the legality of it. And
legality of what?
Of recording without telling anybody.
Oh yeah, tell us, because we need to know what to do once you're into Slammer.
This is from producer Joe. He says 38 states and the District of Columbia have followed federal law and permit individuals to record conversations to which they are a party without informing the other parties that they are doing so. These laws are referred to as one-party consent statutes, and as long as you are party to the conversation, it's legal for you to record it. And Texas is one of those states.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
Oh, well, good for you.
Good to
I know
go.
in California it's not true. You can't do that in California.
Texas is one of those states.
I do it occasionally, only with this, usually in contract negotiations or something. I'll have a wire on.
Although, wait a minute. Bro, stop the show. Wait a minute. If you're doing a contract negotiation, you're wearing a wire?
Sometimes.
What kind of contracts are we talking about? Take a hit on somebody, or what?
Just anything that involves money.
But I did get a text from Uber driver Debbie. She said, "You shameful, you shameful." What? This is Debbie who brought by my glasses after the yellow rose. She's shameful. But I said, "What are you talking about?" Recording Nicaragua, Sally. Now, luckily, she was joking, but she says, "By the way, more and more of us are listening to the show."
Strippers?
No, Uber Debbie, not the strippers. Well, I don't know what Debbie does in her spare time. So I got to be careful.
I just don't see a lot of strippers listening to the show.
No, but it's Debbie, the Uber driver.
Oh, it was her it was actually Debbie herself?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
She brought my glasses back after
right,
that's
the
what I'm
glasses
saying.
girl.
Yeah, you're not listening.
I'm
doing something else.
I know. I'm confused. As soon as you mentioned the yellow rose,
your brain goes.
A whole bunch of doors open. I'm saying, where's he going to go with this? And does it involve strippers? So then I'm trying to decipher what you're saying. Maybe you're talking to me in code.
No, I don't talk in code.
Created a confusion. I'm sorry. Straight from Reseda, here she is, Raven. Give it up.
That's the door opening in your mind, brother.
David Roberts, we want to thank him. He's our top donor for show 717. Is that the number? Yes, I think it is.
Yes.
$624. This is the one that came in just after the closing of the last show. John and Adam, even after almost 8 years of enjoying the best podcast in the universe, I still can't get over the fact that my favorite VJ and my most inspirational computer columnist got together to talk about the world as it really is. With this donation, I would like to be knighted Sir David, Knight of the Yellow Rose. Yeah. Protector of Audubon, Pennsylvania.
Now we're talking.
Sorry it took so long. Adam, please allocate your portion of for the advancement of strippers and their intoxicating scent. Always encrypt. Always encrypt. Vocal Fry wants Vocal Fry mac and cheese. I don't know what DHR 624 means, but okay.
I know, yeah.
In the morning. This is Sir Jeff Smith saying, say no to Vocal Fry. The more you know, in the morning.
Living the mac and cheese life.
Mac and Cheese by Ayn Rand.
Vocal
Fry.
You've got karma.
I added a karma there for him.
Mark Borghese, he probably wanted one. Mark Borghese of the United States. Oh, I needed, here, hold on a second. I had to, because this, I don't want to explain in too much details, but I need to move my spreadsheet around so I can get the cities. I see what I can do here. Hang on. It's because the wordage came off the backside and
It's okay.
I still can't get the cities. Come on, where are your cities?
What are you trying to do? Oh, you're trying to.
I'm moving these little things back and forth.
Why?
Okay, well, you're not going to have any cities for a while. It's going to be states and countries.
Oh, I can, but I have the cities. I can tell you the cities.
Mark Borghese from Nevada.
Las Vegas, yes.
Okay, that's the way we're going to do it.
Yeah, okay.
Night of the Living Dead's Yeah No song made me laugh so hard I was compelled to donate.
Ah.
Wow, thank you. Sir Living Dead, you made my day. Please play that song again.
I'm shocked to find Yeah No going on in here.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
You're saying yeah while you're saying no.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, you know.
Yeah, no.
I don't know why you're saying yeah while saying no.
Yeah, no.
You know, you know.
Yeah, no.
I don't know why you're saying yeah while saying no.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Yeah, no.
I love that.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Do we have a great audience, producing audience, or what?
Well, not yes. Yeah, no.
You know.
We have a.
You know.
The funny thing is about some of these flaws in our speech patterns. It generates terrific material.
It does.
That is one of the best things we've ever done, or they've ever done. That our producers have ever done. We didn't do anything.
This, by the way, is the secret to what No Agenda is. We're not just two guys yakking about. There's an entire network of people. Later, I have a practicing heart surgeon with an email. Come on.
Is he practicing? When is he going to finally get a job?
Well, we're good except for that moment.
Massimo Cantaneo, or did I read his? Yeah,
no, that's the one.
Massimo Cantaneo in Queensland.
Noose Heads, Queensland.
$333.33 in the morning, Adam and John. Please accept my donation for the good work you guys do.
Thank you.
I will ask you for a dose of karma for all the feet in the air of No Agenda. We all wear a backpack when we fly, pilot included.
Jumper.
Much to John's annoyance.
A jumper.
Most of us, yes, right, this is the jumper. Most of us wear a GoPro on the helmet. We literally sit on top of each other at 10,000 feet. We check each other's gear, and before we jump at 14,000, we always wish each other well with a high five and fist bump. At 4,000 feet after the parachute is opened and all is well, I always look down at my feet with a big smile, and I can hear John in my head going, "Feet in the air." Please send a round of karma to all the pilots, planes, and skydivers.
Absolutely.
You've got karma.
A reminder, these are the donation amounts and notes from our executive producers and associate executive producers. The way it works, for time's sake, is we will read those notes at the beginning of the show in full, and then later we have our segment for $50 and above, our thank you segment. And we might choose some notes, but it's really just to keep the show moving, not do 5 hours.
Right, we were getting into trouble.
And also, this is what you get with executive producers and associate executive producers. If you watch television, watch movies, they get the credit up front. We don't have, actresses they can bang. So, we give a credit and read their notes.
Yeah, that's the drawback.
Close second. Close second.
LQZ from Ontario, Canada.
East York.
3/14/15. Credit me as LQZ. No need to read my note on the air. Okay, but we will anyway, but at least part of it. IPA spelling of name to be screamed either. Okay, this is a 3/14. This is a pie donation for Fletcher. And he wants IPA spelling of the name to be screamed, which would be LQZ. Screamed, either one is good. Both of them would be terrific. That's all he wants. He wants that.
Alrighty.
And he does have something about it. Will not go to his wife if the pronunciation is used. I don't know.
I had a quick.
We'll forward this.
I had a quick note for before I forget. Morgan Corkhill. I guess we couldn't find his note.
Yeah.
And he was executive producer, and this is just for Fletcher. Instead of Morgan Corkhill shot, he just wanted Morgan. And I tried to edit it out, but
like Hogan.
Yeah, but yes, exactly. But the cadence is wrong. So Fletcher will get that done. And then is this the last time you can do this, right? It's over.
It ends on the 1st. That means today and tomorrow.
Right.
You can get your last ones in.
Right.
And then we move on.
Right.
And so I'll mention it in the news. If somebody, we're going to get a few late ones, I'm sure. But let's stop on after we do the show for the Cinco de Mayo show. We will end it. Well, maybe we'll bring it back around Christmas. So think about that. Anonymous in Hawaii.
Kaneohe, Hawaii. Kaneohe.
I don't think that's the right pronunciation.
I just looked it up.
Okay, well,
while you were talking,
absolutely correct. Good work.
Yes, that's what I was saying.
Boys, due to my affiliation with the MIC, I need to remain anonymous. Please refer to me as Babalucci. Babalucci. He's got it written.
All right.
Being a longtime freeloader, the true incentive to finally donate was the Fletcher Fest. You may want to consider bringing this back at some time, as there may be a few stragglers out there who are very tempted but haven't pulled the trigger.
The thing is, this is probably the best ringtone or SMS alert you can have.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you can go to NPR and get a mug and a tote bag. Screw that.
Won't get anything like this.
Screw that, bitches. Fletcher Fest is on.
You're only talking to the women? What's the deal?
All men are bitches.
I've been listening to you guys since about 2011 when you used to play the Jigga Chang Chang clip all the time, which I think was John Edwards speaking Chinese or something.
Oh,
remember that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
You'll look for it while I'm continuing to read. I'd love to hear that, but I'm guessing Adam may not have it anymore. If not, I'll settle for some Ebola. It's gross, which I would choose. That's a good one. It's gross. Ebola. Speaking of John, I think Adam has been stepping on you a little too much recently. I would say so. I'm an old Twit convert and still listen to Leo when John is on, just for the cynicism and random bits of information, very random. Frequently, John will go on a diatribe or a description of history, like the Armenians, which we never finished hearing, which Adam didn't allow to finish, and can be extremely frustrating, as I enjoy these non-political aspects of the show.
Oh, that's bullshit. I completely was quiet and listened to everything you said.
I think I finished the Armenian thing.
I think you did.
I agree. I'm on your side.
However, I did receive...
I do not believe that I had stopped talking about the Armenians until I was done.
Correct, and I do have an email later to pull some pieces out of from one of our producers that I think answers the question why sorry seems to be the hardest word.
Now, I have some more thoughts on that, too.
All right.
And then it says, he talks about this, he has to read. This has to be read. Well, I was extremely pleased to find the Adam Curry when I first started listening to the show, because I enjoyed him very much during my MTV childhood.
This is funny to you?
It is, yeah. Anyway, I'd like to call out Andres as a douchebag. Anyway, thanks for your hard work, and especially for Adam for the great production work you do.
Thanks.
You certainly have the best sounding podcast I've heard. And being an engineer, I also enjoy the technical details when you go into them. Keep hitting people in the mouth. Okay.
Ebola. You've got karma.
Ebola karma.
All right, yeah, you still have the Fletcher Fest thing. It's fine.
I'm sorry?
The guy who's had a PS, and he's wondering if he's still in the Fletcher Fest. He donated $330, I guess, and got spun out somehow. David Rosa in Michigan. Town?
Yeah. Oh, doesn't say. Oh, wait, Clarkston. Sorry, Clarkston.
Okay. 314-15.
Now I've got extra stuff to do. It's hard to...
You volunteered. You volunteer, and then one time you missed the cue and you complain. Welcome to the formula for this show, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, exactly.
Howdy, gents. I wanted a Fletcher shout out yelling Rosa. I just could not miss out on such a great Colonel Klink throwback. The podcast is great. I would say you two have found a true vocation. Sir David Brooks. Okay.
My mom would be so happy.
What are you doing, son? What are you doing with your time, son?
I'm doing a podcast.
What's that? What's a podcast? Is that something bad?
It's not contagious.
Craig Mazzella
from
314
Parts Unknown. Parts Unknown.
And Parts Unknown, Parts Everything Unknown, because I can't find an email from him either.
I looked too and could not find anything.
Okay. Well. Oh, wait, here it is.
Oh, it's a double.
Oh, what is this?
Hey, is this a double? Is it double donation or is it?
I don't know. We have to send him a note and see if he actually meant to do this. It may be too much money. Craig Mazzella, Sir Mad Hatter. That's who he is. Yeah, the Mad Hatter.
Yes.
ITM, John and Adam wanted to get on the Fletcher Fest before it was too late. Can I ask for a modification?
Oh.
I would like my knighthood name, Mad Hatter, sung in the Ali Akbar melody instead of the usual scream. Was it Fletcher that did Ali Akbar?
Allahu Akbar.
That's the one. That's Fletcher.
I don't know.
I think we should keep. No, we keep the Fletcher Fest as a Fletcher Fest.
Well, we did this one time because we didn't put the rule down. We can do one. Nobody else can chew gum.
Now, I want to say that
no. Okay. Well, you know what's going to happen, right? Fletcher, he's a ham. He's going to do it.
Yeah, I do want to say in the show notes for today's show, and I will also tweet this out separately, we will have all of the Fletcher Fest shout-outs in one bundle, separate little files, and hopefully the No Agenda family of mixers and remixers and twiddlers and twinkers, we'll turn it into something we can play, which is not just, something musical.
Sure
well, there's the people out there. We got cool people in the community. Something fun might happen. If not, it's just, there it is. If your name is... if your name is one of the names, you're lucky.
I mentioned in a previous show that I had attended the ICCS 2015 Cybersecurity Conference. Besides the all-day in or the all-in by the FBI of North Korea on the Sony hack, several speakers, including Mr. Comey, said to prepare for. Oh yeah, this is interesting. This is well worth reading. Said to prepare for a major attack on the critical infrastructure of the U.S. within the next 6 months. This is like the Feinstein thing.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have yes, we are. So we're all doomed. Judd Johnson's grab of the Coast Guard is very much in line with this. I'll be interested to see if the new take on the 6-week cycle is more significant as a more significant 6-month cycle. There were 2 targets discussed: the power grid and international shipping.
Oh, that's for the Coast Guard.
Yeah.
That's why J has the Coast Guard.
Yeah.
J.
Yeah, that makes sense. Apparently, the communication systems used by the shipping industry are very insecure. I can't help but feel that there will be some strike on a major shipping carrier, which would be used as the basis for a money grab in the Coast Guard to enhance for the money for the Coast Guard, a money grab for the Coast Guard to enhance security.
Sure.
With J leaving in 2016, it could position him for a long and lucrative career advising the shipping industry. This is a great call, by the way. Advising the shipping industry on security and best practices.
Remind me, I have a J clip.
The show is great as always. I look forward to Sundays and Thursdays. Thank you for everything, Sir Henry Viscount of Queens, for hitting me in the mouth.
Yo.
It was needed.
Sir Mad Hatter.
Sir Philip Zirin in Winterthur, Switzerland, 215.
There was I think I had a note for him. Hold on a second. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I think I may have it.
Yeah, I have it here. Hold on. Sorry. Didn't expect it to be right now. The MIA notes that Eric was saying. We have such a great system. Here it is. Dear John and Adam, first of all, I'd like to thank you both for your excellent work. I count myself lucky to enjoy your first-class media analysis twice a week. Therefore, I'd like to encourage all the listening douchebags out there to abandon the pseudo-philosophical notion that the best things in life are for free. That's just bullcrap. This is my first donation since I achieved knighthood. I knew it was time for my next donation since I started to catch myself on the no. Actually, it's not bothering me to say that at all. What is bothering me is to catch myself even in my mother tongue, Swiss German. This has to stop. Damn you. Okay. And I'd like to request human resources, karma, and a damn SharePoint fill from John Fletcher. Oh, okay. Damn SharePoint Phil. Okay.
Damn SharePoint Phil.
You've got karma.
Right.
Stanley, is it Kefter in Florida?
Tallahassee,
Lassie.
You got is that
3/14/15. It should say has note.
Oh, is it check? It's gray, meaning it was a check.
Yeah, here it is. Stacy Kefford. It looks like Jason is the one who sent the money in. Whatever the case, amen, fist bump. Sir
Amen,
Jason.
fist bump.
Amen, fist bump, comrades.
Oh, that's it? That's enough? Yeah.
It's been a while since I've supported the best podcast in the universe, but the economics of being a grad student. There's a grad student here.
Yeah.
Of a grad student doesn't help, but I must get in on this John Fletcher action while I still can. If this gets you in time, may I please get the jingle of Fletcher screaming Kiefer as part of the expiring donation promotion. As for today's show, can I get a Fletcher screaming "Let's get social"? I don't remember that.
Yeah, we have that. Yeah.
And some karma. Thank you for the excellent show, and please keep it up.
Yes, very happy.
Let's get social.
You've got karma.
Hey, now
he's got to add the social media part onto that.
Okay.
Let's get social with social media. I mean, that would be just too funny. Mark McAvoy. I think that's a hit song in the waiting.
It is.
Yes, I think Taylor Swift should sing it. Mark Mac. I finally found a Taylor. I can't say Taylor. I have to say Staylor.
Staylor Twift.
Staylor Twist. I have finally found a song of hers I liked.
And?
Stacey, okay, Mark McAvoy. What?
Oh, what song?
Style.
That's the name of the song that you like?
Yeah, it's very catchy.
Huh.
And very well produced. It's well structured. And then I looked at the writing credits. There's about 6 guys who did it. I don't know how much.
Oh yeah. These are the crack writing teams
it's a crack writing team put it together.
This is that's the way it goes, man.
Mark McAvoy, $200.01. The president of IntellaArmor.com,
yes,
called me out as a douchebag twice.
Oh, noes.
And he was right. I've been a boner for almost 5 years now. Please accept this donation, which should get you 100 boxes of mac and cheese, and you're welcome. I would say he needs a de-douching.
I'll give him. Oh, by the way, this is how it works. We're talking about Fletcher on the show, and then all of a sudden,
Morgan.
Guy is so cool.
I told you he's a ham.
Yeah, he is.
You've been de-douched. You've got karma.
Nice.
And finally, last but not least, is Sir Donald Silva. And curiously, I do have a note. Sorry, this isn't, and this came in as a check. This isn't handwritten. Since I had a stroke 7 years ago, my handwriting now really sucks. Fortunately, it's about the only thing that sucks, other than my optical knowledge, optical physics, UCSD 1970. Fortunately, I'm retired and I don't need it anymore. I'm sorry that the contributions are down. They were. I would mourn the loss of hearing the two of you banter the news of the day as something a wise man said, whatever has a beginning has an end. Your show will end. Hopefully we can hold it off until you retire.
Retire? Retire with what?
Retire.
With what?
If the show ever ends, it's not because we retired. It's because people stop supporting
Here's the bottom line. This show will end, but it will end badly.
Yeah, we could always have a feud. We have an ongoing feud anyway, but we might as well have a real one. Martin Lewis, I'm thinking of.
These are official credits.
Wait, I'm not done. Anyway, he's saying there's one leader he really admired. He was the first president of the Czech Republic. His name was Václav Havel, who was a writer and philosopher. No one comes close to this guy. There are many good people. Unfortunately, they're not in politics. Of course, I speak in generalities. I think you run your show perfectly. You're pretty consistent these past 7 years. And then the last 5, 4, 3, maybe. That is truly amazing. It's hard to be consistent in anything. Congratulations. I think we listeners take your wonderful show for granted. I love the show, and I love both of you. Mahalo.
Mahalo.
Sir Don Silva.
Very nice.
Knight of the No Agenda.
A little bit of karma for him.
You've got karma.
So as I was saying, these are real credits. And we give them to our executive producers and associate executive producers, Dvorak.org/NA. You can find out all about how that works. Quick PR mention, because I still haven't gotten to the P.O. box since I think she sent something, but I see her in the No Agenda Facebook group, CJ Eureka, on Etsy, and I have a link in the show notes under PR. She's got just some dynamite handmade No Agenda stuff. It's beautiful. She's making stuff in brass, embroidery. She's very creative. Buttons, all kinds of things. Have you seen it? Have you seen some of this stuff?
I just got my box.
Oh, so you got it. What do you have in the box?
I have a piece of copper that's been pounded.
Copper, yeah. Nice.
Says something. Mm-hmm. And then I have a bunch of 33 buttons, which I can give away. They're pretty cool.
Nice.
And some other miscellaneous stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
It's all cool. Yeah. And Etsy, I guess she ekes out a living on Etsy selling.
Yeah, she just cranks them out. One out, new meme, boom, there's some new copper. Fantastic. Thank you all very much for supporting us, you execs and associate execs.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Obviously, we always need everybody out there propagating our ever-important formula.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Shut up, slave!
Shut up, slave.
Shut up. Shut up, I said. Shut up, slave. Now, I said, remember, I need to play something, because I had a clip about something. And now
that reminds me, while you're looking for that clip, and you mumble to yourself while you're doing this, because I got to run over and get the red book.
Myself. I'm just mumbling a little bit. It was about... See, this it's a short-term memory that goes first, man. What the heck was I talking about? Oh, Jud Johnson. Here we go. Jud Johnson was being grilled on the Hill. This is the Department of Homeland Security Oversight Committee, and he was asked a question by Rand Paul, and not only is his answer very telling, but Rand Paul also was very telling in his follow-up about his stance. And this is specifically about mass surveillance, which, as we know, according to the Cyber Edict, Jud Johnson, the director of the Department of Homeland Security, until 2016 is when he leaves. So he's come in to clean something up. A lot of this falls under him, and he's going to make sure that there's no infighting amongst the agencies. And he apparently has the golden ticket or the golden key from the president, his boss, as he said, to do this. Now, a reminder: Jay Johnson, as we call him, G-E-H, Jay Johnson, was before this the man, the legal opinion dude. That's a title in the Pentagon for drone strikes. Lethal drone strikes. So the call would come from, I don't know if it came from the executive office, but they have these on Tuesdays. But as he said himself, sometimes with just minutes to spare, is it legal to kill this person, regardless of skin color, creed,
nationality, USA citizen,
American citizens? And he's the trigger man. He gave the legal authority. So if you think he knows something about law, here's the question.
Hope.
Thank you, Secretary Johnson, for your testimony. Do you believe the Fourth Amendment applies to third-party records?
Well, I'm not sure what you mean by third-party records, sir. What do you mean?
The telephone company records.
You're asking me a legal question.
But gee, it's so hard. I can think in minutes if it's about killing someone, but
it's a pretty big question.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm sorry, Senator. I'm not sure I know how to answer that.
Do you believe the government has the right to have bulk collection of records from millions of individuals without a warrant?
I see. That is.
And remember, the guy can think on his feet 3 seconds if you can kill an American citizen.
Respectfully say that is beyond my competence as the Secretary of Homeland Security to answer in any intelligent legal way. I wouldn't want to hazard a legal judgment on that.
Cop out. Now listen to Rand Paul.
He doesn't know what the official He has to go talk to Josh Earnest.
Yeah, he didn't have the official word. Let's listen to Rand Paul's follow-up. Says something very interesting for all fans of Rand.
Here's the problem, though. I mean, your agency's in charge of cooperating and being part of this. And that's the whole debate we have in our country is over whether you should do this. And your testimony, you complain about encryption. Why do you think that companies are choosing to go in the direction of more encryption? It's because they feel you're taking our information without a warrant. So I would hazard that, and I would propose...
What is this I would hazard?
I would hazard.
What is that?
It means I would hazard.
I mean, I'm doing.
That means I would take it. It means I would take a chance.
The dangerous step.
Asking a question.
The dangerous step.
Because they feel you're taking.
That might cause me trouble. Might be bad for me to do.
It's because they feel you're taking our information without a warrant. So I would hazard that, and I would propose that there is no person named Verizon. So you do not have an individualized warrant.
By the way, this doesn't jibe with me because the way I understand U.S. persons in the legal definition, Verizon would most certainly be a person. So I think Rand Paul makes a mistake here. He makes a mistake.
What are you getting at, Rand?
Well, listen to I'm getting at one thing with him.
Do not have an individualized warrant under the Fourth Amendment when you say to Mr. Verizon, we want hundreds of millions of records. And this is a debate, and it's an important one. And if we're going to complain about encryption, or we're going to complain about individuals wanting privacy, we really need to have a thorough discussion and understanding of the Fourth Amendment and the complaints by many of us that you're doing something without a warrant. The other thing I would say is with encryption, if you get a warrant, I'm one of the biggest civil libertarians there is, but if you have a warrant, I'm fine with you getting and unencrypting data from people.
Hello, douchebag.
Wow.
That is by definition no longer encryption. The encryption is two parties. Boom, that's it. Not a third party, it's two. So there's your Rand Paul, the big libertarian, the big hope of the libertarians.
Libertarian hope.
The great libertarian hope.
No,
all in.
That's not right. No. And by the way, if you want to be technical, you could just have kind of a CEO gets the warrant. It's not in the individualized. He owns the or runs the company. He gets the warrant, and then you go to the records.
He's all in. This guy, all in.
Wake up! I demand you break your conditioning.
Sorry.
All right, I got one for you. You're going to play. I've got this one. I'm thinking of it as an evergreen. Let's see if I can find it. It's in here. It's hands clapping, thumbs up.
Okay.
Hands clapping, thumbs up.
I like it.
Amen. Fist bump.
That's good. You can meld them together. Where did this come from?
It came from a commercial for I think Wendy's or Jack in the Box.
I like it.
By the way, this is how great the commercial is. I don't remember what's a hamburger commercial.
Exactly.
Hands clapping, thumbs up.
Amen. Fist bump.
It's the same cadence. It's beautiful. Evergreen for sure.
Yeah.
Good one. Good one.
Conditioning. All right.
Here's an email. This is the one I wanted to read. In the morning, Adam, for what it's worth, I believe your diagnosis regarding Bill Clinton's pump head is spot on.
Oh.
Now, this is the condition. Well, I'll read on. I'm a practicing heart surgeon, and unfortunately, I see this phenomenon occur, especially in older patients whose aortas are often littered with atherosclerosis. As I'm saying, atherosclerosis. Thank you. As a manner of neurological defects all manner of neurological defects can result, including weakness, tremors, slurred speech, and confusion. And
that probably accounts for all of it, then, including the tremors.
Well, so regarding the tremors, we didn't quite know if it was Parkinson's or not. Apparently, Bill Clinton went on Larry King. Is Larry King on a channel anymore? Where is he?
Yeah, he's on RT.
Oh, okay. Here it is.
On the RT network, but he's actually still running his own. That's taken from that Iceberg Slim guy who was a big Mexican billionaire that owns, all the oil. And I don't know, it's Carlos.
Carlos Slim,
better. And he does I can't remember the name of the network. This is how bad it is. Yeah. It's some little rinky-dink online network, and then so they sell it off to RT. And
okay. Well, here it is.
A lot of tweeter questions.
I love Harry King. Most tweeter questions. This guy's genius. Most Tweeter. Most Harry King, everybody.
A lot of Tweeter questions are asking about your health.
How's your health from the Tweeter questions?
There were tabloid stories saying you had Parkinson's disease.
You know why that is?
Why?
Have you ever noticed my left hand shakes sometimes? Shake a little bit today, see? Not much, just a little. And when I'm tired or more tired, it sometimes shakes more. I noticed this a couple of years ago, so I actually went to my doctor, and he got me with a specialist, and they tested me for Parkinson's. I said, look, if I got this, I want to know. I want to manage it. And he said, you absolutely do not. And the first thing, the guy tested me, and then he said, it's worse when you're tired, isn't it? I said, yeah. He said, when people get older, they quite often have a tremor in their hands, a little tremor. And that...
Now you're giving it to me.
He said, you just have to fight it. He said, you have to, keep your grip strong and avoid spasm muscles.
May is going to be a great month for Bill.
And he said, try to get enough sleep. But he said, you don't have a Parkinson's problem. So I'm living and breathing for an end to the Parkinson's problem. I hope that the Human Genome Project will do it for Michael J. Fox, for Janet Reno, for all the friends I've had who dealt with Parkinson's. But apparently I don't have it yet.
How's your heart?
Apparently.
As far as I know, it's okay. My last medical exam, I got a good report.
Right. So being from the future, of course, we have predicted maybe not good things in Bill Clinton's future. The best thing that could happen is just a heart attack. I don't know, like if your airplane has to make an emergency landing or something, which actually happened. You didn't hear about that. You didn't hear about the Clinton's plane making an emergency landing?
No, not at all.
Yeah, engine went out and they had to make an emergency landing.
With jet?
No, it was a turboprop.
Oh. Where was he going? Where was he coming from?
He was, I shall tell you. He was in Tanzania. Good place for it to happen.
Yeah, it's like, it's a great place for it to happen if you want to.
Well, but not a crash. This is the thing. He doesn't need a crash. He just needs something that'll stir up his heart. One of those.
Oh, I see what you're thinking.
Yeah, well, I'm just thinking.
I mean, we both are thinking about this.
And you can always follow me on Twitter.
I think it's sick, and I think that we should be berated. No one has said anything for us going down this path, and it would never be done by any commercial broadcast ever.
No.
But we do it, and and if people don't know what we're talking about, the theory that Hillary, to get over the top in an election situation, would have her husband killed off, or he would volunteer to die.
I think he would actually volunteer. I'm tired of this anyway. Let me go out in a blaze of glory.
It's a possibility.
Blaze of glory.
Larry King now grilling him about his health is like a kind of a reminder from some other source.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, how's your head? And he ended up, the thing is, you listen to that clip. How's your heart? And he was going to go into another discussion.
Yeah.
So
also a lot of interference being run on the book, the Clinton Cash.
As best they can. I was watching some analysis of this by some experts, and they said that typically the Clintons' approach to these exposés, and by the way, if you haven't noticed, and I'm sure everyone has, the author's name is never mentioned without the word conservative. Conservative author, blah, blah, blah. Conservative writer, blah, blah, blah. Conservative reporter, blah, blah, blah.
I don't know if it's in this particular clip. So the number one operative for the Clintons in the news media is George Stephanopoulos. And he's at ABC, of course, and he does all the big interviews, and he does on the Good Morning America, and he also goes on the Jon Stewart program to run interference specifically about the book, which I have not read yet. But of course,
it hasn't been published; it's not out.
But Stephanopoulos has read it, and he's interviewed the author. I don't think he mentions him by name, but he says some interesting things here.
Foreign donors that might have given to the Clinton Global Initiative, and then there might have been favors done at the State Department, and it's to the tune of some millions of dollars. Yes?
Yeah, I read the book.
Some millions? How about hundreds of millions?
This is based on Clinton Cash. Read it, and I actually interviewed the author on Sunday. This is a tough one because when you actually look closely at it, he even says there's no evidence of any direct action taken on behalf of the donors. But everybody also knows when those donors give that money, and President Clinton or someone, they get a picture with him, that there's a hope that that's going to lead to something. And that's what you have to be careful of.
My point is, though, that so there's an industry around this. A book is written. The guy comes on your show. He does a bunch of interviews. He does a bunch of interviews with other people, and they all talk about the scandal of these few millions of dollars and what it might have led to. In the same breath, she announced, I'm going to raise $2.5 billion. And everybody was like, she's serious.
Yeah. Yeah, so there he is. Now, what is interesting about this is for years we have been pulling, dissecting, and discussing, mainly in regard when it started with Haiti and the theft, I would say, of billions of dollars. Just who knows where it's gone, but we know where it initially went when we had 3 presidents saying we need to.
We just need cash. I know a lot of people want to send blankets or water. Just send your cash.
So we've been looking at these Form 990s, and now it seems like, journalists have discovered you can look at the Form 990. And and where what they're focusing on now, which I think is a distraction, but I need to look into it. I'll take today and tomorrow and Saturday. Is the Canadian arm of the Clinton Foundation, Clinton Global Initiative, I think Foundation. Which is the Clinton Giostra Enterprise Partnership, the CGEP, a full Canadian affiliate, and 1,100 donors that donated through that, let's just call it a portal, for lack of a better word. Now, what the Clinton camp and lawyers are saying is that Canadian law does not allow for the disclosure of people donating to nonprofits. I don't know if this is true, sounds fishy, but I will say at the same time, on a Form 990, it is not required. And you have a 501(c), 501(4)(c), different types of nonprofits, and it's very hard to find out who actually donated. It is my understanding a lot of the donations, the big money, came in through credit card transactions from overseas. But you know, it's kind of irrelevant. They're going back. They're going to refile, and the Canadian CGEP says we're going to approach as many of these 1,100 undisclosed donors as possible. We'll ask them if it's okay for them to disclose their name. Well, good luck with that. And that's not going to happen.
There was a discussion. Didn't get any clips from it, but somebody deconstructing the Bill Clinton and Hillary methodology for these harmful books that come out. And it was, I can't remember the guy's name, but they had a PR guy or a press guy for a while who was really adept at dealing with the crisis management expert. And this guy said, this book isn't following the exact pattern because it kind of caught him flat-footed, because normally, way before book publication time, the Clintons get an advance copy through some moles they have in the publishing industry.
Oh, no doubt.
And they strategize how to take the guy out, but usually they go after the writer as a douchebag,
right, conservative and all that.
Well, I think is why they keep saying conservative. Yeah. But they make him out to be a douchebag, full of crap, and they do this way before the book comes out. So the book comes out flat. It comes out to an uninterested audience because it gets discussed to an extreme. Yeah. And I don't know that it seems that there is an element of that here because, like you said, you haven't read the book yet. You say the book is not out, but yet the Clintons are all over it.
Stephanopoulos read it, he said.
And somehow Stephanopoulos read it. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be interesting. But apparently the book has got all kinds of cool stuff in it.
Well, we'll find out.
And let's face it, these two are just not on the up and up.
Yeah, everyone seems to every Obama bot I talk to, though, seems to have given in. Well, it's the best we can do.
She deserves it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. She's worked hard for it. She deserves it, exactly.
She's worked hard for it. She deserves it.
Since we have a new attorney general, she's been confirmed, our new attorney general.
Oh, right, the one that's best friends with Holder's wife, I guess.
And Holder is on his way out, so finally, and he's got to leave a legacy. How do you think he thinks how he's done in Department of Justice?
Well, by that one picture he's got, which is floating around, I'll put it, find it and put it in the next newsletter. So be aware for the Holder picture.
You want to explain the picture, or is that?
Yeah, he just thinks he's the greatest. He's like with a bunch of Greek gods, or he's surrounded by these images of himself, or these people holding their hands up. He's doing the same thing.
All right, so let's just run down.
He thinks he's the best.
Let's run down the controversies of the Holder Justice Department. We had the gun running, right? What was that called?
Mexican cartels with the sole purpose of getting the Sinaloa cartel to take over the whole operation. I think that whole thing fell through, but it was a nice try.
We had IRS emails. Would that fall under him as well? I think that falls under him as well.
Well, I think the prosecution would. And I think, and he was also holding out documents, if you remember.
Right. He didn't want to send documents
in Congress, and he should have been held. And he was held in contempt of Congress. Yep. And the local district attorney of Washington, D.C., was supposed to prosecute. Nothing came of it. So he's gotten away with something.
Yeah. And of course, he locked up journalists and, the Fox guy as a whistleblower. He's locked. In fact, most
the guy from New York Times, Reston.
Yeah, more whistleblowers have been jailed under this attorney general than ever.
Ever, not
ever.
In a total ever.
Yeah. And how did he do on the Snowden stuff? Pretty poor, I'd say, in general.
Well, I don't know if he had a chance to really do any damage.
Well, here he is talking.
He also busted the legal medical pot.
Yeah, good work.
Operations in California. Sent the thugs out to California to beat up these guys and take their pot.
Yeah. Here he is talking to his people. I guess he has a little speech and talked to the Department of to the people of the Department of Justice.
I think that as we look back at these past 6 years, what I want you all to understand is that you have done truly historic and big things. I mean, no matter where you looked. If you look at from the basic stuff, this department is restored. It's restored to what it always was. And certainly it was when I got here, and what it must always be. Free of politicization, focused on the mission, and making sure that justice is done without any kind of interference from political outsiders.
Yeah, well, sounds jovial to me. Perfect. All good.
All right. Well, we can disagree on that. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else we got? What else are you looking at?
Well, I have a lot of different things. I'm working on the story for Sunday. I've received an interview with a very experienced pilot. This is regarding the Germanwings crash, but it appears to be something part of something larger. But when it comes to planes crashing down in this particular manner, and and I wasn't, and he's very long-winded. This is the problem. I'm going to have to
cut it down.
Well, I'm going to have to tell his story and use some of his clips, and it also had to wrap my brain around what he was saying. But from the information that has been told to the public as fact of record, fact of the cockpit voice cockpit voice recorder. The evidence that has been presented cannot have happened in that manner, and there's only one answer to how this happened, and it really I had to just
okay.
So that'll be Sunday. However, I did want to mention with my friend Theo would laugh at the unintended consequences of technology, and of course my favorite word is being used, an iPad glitch. According to what's this, Associated Press, I'm sure that they find that more than sufficient to just use the word glitch. I mean, why bother trying to find out what's really going on in technology these days? Broke all of the American Airlines electronic flight bags running on their iPads. And the whole fleet was grounded while they did an upgrade to their app, which is they don't carry paper anymore. Well, as a pilot, as an airman, this is annoying. You cannot have this type of, and it's because it's cloud based and it's distributed. This is where the problem comes from. One glitch, which was an upgrade to the app, screwed it up for the entire fleet. And because they're also dependent upon it, no one has a sectional plate. No one has any you have.
Yeah, it's the big problem. It's the technology problem.
Everyone believes that the shit works.
That's
the problem.
Actually the meta problem.
That's the meta problem. Oh, it's technology. It'll work forever. No.
It doesn't work at all. You have a clip?
No, I don't. But
I've got a couple of things with clips.
Okay, good.
There was a report that came out with on school effectiveness, and this was on NewsHour, and this is the school effectiveness 2014 clip, and I have the proof that this is nothing new clip.
And American kids still don't know that much about history or civics or geography, for that matter. The Education Department said today that in 2014, only a quarter of 8th graders showed solid performance in those subjects. That's little change since the last national assessment in 2010.
Well, I don't think this is anything new. In fact, it was to the point in the 60s that you'd have this. This is the school effectiveness of the 60s.
Don't know much about history. Don't know much about biology. Don't know much about a science book. Don't know much about the French I took.
But I do know that I love you. Nice. Very good, John. I like that.
Anyway, that's just
good one.
That was like in the society to such an extent that we're singing.
They were singing about it.
Which brings us.
Wait. Before you do that, last night at the Star Party, Sherry was there. Sherry runs the Crystal class that I took. So, of course, she would be there at the Star Party.
Yes.
And she said that she's in her late 20s, I think, that she had taken astronomy in high school, and she doesn't think they actually ever looked through a telescope. That's education for you right there.
Wow.
Yeah. Nice.
Well, meanwhile, I was listening to some of the NPR stuff, and there's an undercurrent besides Elizabeth Warren. There's actually an undercurrent of Jerry Brown running.
No. Moonbeam?
Yes. And he's doing big stories. I started to notice this, but play the Jerry, not the Jerry Brown 79, but this Jerry Brown clip.
California Governor Jerry Brown today ordered the state's greenhouse gas emissions to be slashed 40% below 1990 levels by 2030. Brown called it the most aggressive benchmark enacted by any government in North America. Measures to enforce the cuts will be worked out over the next year.
So I'm thinking, is Brown maybe even thinking about this? Because it's always been assumed, and he tried it once before, because when he was governor in the 70s, he was always seen as a presidential guy. And again, we have this sort of example of what people were thinking back then about the guy.
I am Governor Jerry Brown. I are a smile and never frown. Nice. Soon I will be president. Hey, 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 hey. Our power will soon go away. I will be Führer one day. I will command all of you. If it's a California, Colorado,
Nice, John.
Kids will meditate in school.
That is, of course, the Dead Kennedys.
Yes, 1979.
And here I thought you were only a Green Day fan. I like this. I really like what you've done here.
Oh, good.
Thank you. That's really good.
Just showing you that it's always in there. It's always the culture.
There's nothing new.
It's ahead of the game.
It's just cycles. It's all the same thing over again every single day. As sad as it sounds. Okay, a couple things we can catch up on. This during the ultimate distraction of Baltimore, something was found.
There is other news today, including this, the developments in the IRS targeting scandal. A watchdog has found thousands of missing Lois Lerner emails. Treasury's Inspector General for Tax Administration says it found about 6,400 emails from 2004 through 2013, a 9-year period. Lerner used to run the tax-exempt organizations arm. That's the department accused of targeting conservative groups. The IRS claimed the emails were lost when Lerner's computer crashed 3 years ago. They will now be examined by the Senate Finance Committee.
Oops.
The Senate's run by the Republicans now, so you got problems.
Oops.
Well, that's not the only lost thing.
Oh?
Yes, I have I thought when I heard this story, I said, oh, finally, Adam can shut up about the lost videotape of the
Boston bombing?
Of the Boston bombing guy. And let's see, where is this clip? I got too many clips, so I can't keep track.
Unseen video.
Unseen video. Here it is.
To Boston tonight, the penalty phase deciding whether bomber Dzhokhar Tsarnaev should live or die. And tonight, right here, the video never seen before, shown in that courtroom today. Tsarnaev pacing in his holding cell. Jurors then shown what he does next straight to that camera. The prosecution arguing it proves he is unrepentant.
Unseen video of him flipping the bird on the secret video.
Have you noticed this? This is again one of these things where they're trying to change the narrative.
Yes.
We know the public psyche knows there's something missing from the case, which is the video they promised us that so many people supposedly heard of somebody else seeing, but it's never been, and they claim to have.
Well,
right?
hold on. Let's just play. Let's play the evergreen from the governor of Massachusetts.
Is there anything on the videotape that maybe the public hasn't seen about his reaction that was particularly telling that move the investigation along?
Well, the videotape is not something I've seen. It's been described to me in my briefings.
Oh, yes.
But it does seem to be pretty clear that this suspect took the backpack off, put it down, did not react when the first explosion went off, and then moved away from the backpack in time for the second explosion. So pretty clear about his involvement, and pretty chilling, frankly.
Lies.
As just described to me.
Lies. You lie. Well, he's not lying, actually, because it was described to him.
He's telling the truth.
Yeah.
So his description is just secondhand.
Yeah.
But the narrative, and we've noticed this before.
Pretty clear, by the way.
Missing. You haven't seen this before. This is the video you haven't seen, and they show some from inside a store.
Yeah.
They show something about
from inside the
else.
cell.
And now this one, but it's always the video you haven't seen. I think it is to drum into the public's. Oh yeah, I knew there was
a video somewhere. Yeah.
Let me think. There was a video that proved he was guilty, and we didn't get to see it. There's a video. Yeah. Oh, now they're going to show us a video that we haven't seen. This must be it.
But as we know. The entire case was immediately thrown to the wolves, really. His lawyer, her entire pro bono lawyer, her entire mission is to get people off of death row and life imprisonment. That is her mantra. That is her reputation. That's what she does. So she's guilty on everything. And now it's only about her own ego of getting this kid not killed. And which I think is sad, because this would be the one. This would be the premiere episode of our death reality series. It would be great. We already have the camera inside. He's pacing. He's flipping off. Will he be killed? And then, of course, we should vote for him to be killed, because that's what we all love. I just want to show it on TV. We got the drugs are a problem again. Have you been hearing? There's always a shortage of this drug to kill people.
Well, that's because the drug companies. They didn't make the drug to kill people, and then they got irked when people were buying it for that purpose.
But what's interesting is even that drug. But
by the way, obviously not an American company.
No,
because Pfizer.
We love
that. How many gallons do you want?
Right. So now I didn't have any clips of it. I was just kind of tuning into it on the sideline. That it actually, these drugs are the drugs they're using now. They keep you quiet, they put you to sleep, but they don't actually kill you right away. And the funny thing is, the most efficient way of killing someone is by beheading them. It really is the most efficient way to do it.
Well, I think a guillotine.
Yeah, guillotine. Now, the gas chamber is no longer used. Or
modernize, use some sort of laser weapon like they use in James Bond.
Yeah. Or like a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Think about
just
the merchandising.
The lightsaber should be introduced as an idea.
Not an idea, as a merchandising moment. Get your official U.S. Marshals lightsaber. Chop off their heads. So we're a bunch of pussies here. Pussies. We're willing to let someone we want to die to suffer instead of just doing it quick because, I don't know, gas chamber reminds us of the Holocaust. Oh, can't do that. Pussies. Jade Helm 15, which I think we've correctly debunked, and we'll keep our eye on it. But this Walmart closing has nothing to do with it. But the actual exercise is, of course, taking place.
But Adam, the Walmart store, somebody has penetrated one of the stores, and the shelves are empty.
And there will soon be trailers around the perimeter, with workmen to do the remodeling. It's real. So Jade Helm 15 is an actual exercise, and the exercise is without doubt disturbing, as it appears to be, and the documents everywhere, so people can read up on this. That's in the show notes. It appears to be an exercise in urban warfare. And so this question, now finally we have a little script, and as we know, these are scripted questions. Everybody knows what's coming. Josh Earnest is the spokeshole for the White House. He knows it's coming, and there is a question about Jade Helm 15.
I've read about this.
Okay, so 1,200 special operations forces over 8 weeks, some of them traveling kind of incognito in these states. So the governor of Texas has ordered the National Guard to monitor this exercise to make sure that the civil liberties and constitutional rights of Texans are not going to be infringed. Is this paranoia? Is this concern justified? Has it been conveyed to the White House in any way? Can you explain what the purpose of the exercise is and why people should or shouldn't be concerned?
Yeah. Well,
so a good question. It's clearly scripted, set up, so we can explain it. Now, of all the things that they could do in this operation, we're talking about a police force, a militarized police force, military force, just call it that. A military force coming into cities, and they will be in cities, and they will be doing flyovers and all kinds of stuff like that. Do not be alarmed, citizen. But what is actually going to happen, what they're going to do, as Josh Earnest explains, frightens me more.
Should or shouldn't be concerned?
Yeah. Well, I'll say a couple things. My understanding is that the individuals who are participating in the exercise won't be traveling incognito, that they'll be wearing armbands.
That's enough for me. Sieg Heil, armband, yes. Will they have an insignia on the armband?
Wow.
Will citizens be asked to wear stars, little yellow stars? Hey, fuck that, Ernest.
That's funny. I missed that somehow. Of course, the news media didn't pick up on it.
Armbands.
They'd be wearing armbands.
With what? With a little Obama logo? Or what is it? What?
Armband with an Obama logo would be dynamite.
That would be fantastic. Heil, everybody. Heil. I'm
nice and colorful and friendly. It's eco-friendly logo.
Unless there's any more to the clip here.
But what I would do is I would encourage you to check with the Department of Defense that's conducting the exercise.
Oh, yeah. But why bother with anyone else involved? It's the Defense Department. We can't look at that.
And they can explain to you what the goal of the exercise is, what sort of what practices and capabilities will be conducted in the conduct of this particular exercise. The thing that I can say without having a lot of detailed knowledge about the particular exercise is that in no way will the constitutional rights or civil liberties of any American citizen be infringed upon while this exercise is being conducted.
Right. Okay. It would be great if the president said, "Hi, everybody. Let's talk about the armband." I mean, that would make my day. That would really, really complete everything. Really, really. And then there's one other thing that is happening in the Supreme Court right now. Is I guess are they in deliberation yet about the same-sex marriage? Is that where they're at?
I don't know where it stands. I think the last time, C-SPAN actually plays some of these deliberations.
Yes, I have a clip from that, and there's no video because it's only audio from the Supreme Court. Yeah.
Which again, check the calendar. Why don't we have video?
There's some reason for it. I don't know what it is. I don't think. Are there photos even of this when the court is in session?
You have to have a guy drawing.
Hello, 2015. Quick clip here. This is Justice Alito. I would say is he a conservative judge? Is he?
I think so.
I think so too. And I like it when there's a little joke. The little jokey there is kind of fun. So the question is. This particular piece of the debate is, well, if you allow same-sex marriage, what else can you allow and what can you not allow? And Justice Alito, kind of like he's a Fox News correspondent comes up with an example. It would have been on the 5 or something. I don't know, but he makes a good joke out of it.
These are 4 people, 2 men and 2 women. It's not the sort of polygamous polygamous marriages that existed in other societies and still exist in.
So he's saying how would it work if we have 2 women and 2 men who all want to be married to each other? So a 4-way marriage. For some reason, he made this up, but then here's the joke.
Some societies today, and let's say they're all consenting adults, highly educated. They're all lawyers. What would be the ground under the logic of the decision you would like us to hand down in this case? What would be the logic of denying them the same right?
Number one, I assume the states would rush in and say that when you're talking about multiple people joining into a relationship, that is not the same thing that we've had in marriage, which is on the mutual support and consent of 2 people. Setting that aside, even assuming it is within the fundamental right.
Well, I don't know what kind of a distinction that is, because a marriage between 2 people of the same sex is not something that we have had before. Recognizing that.
Yeah, he nailed her on that one. Hold on, it's a little more. It's just interesting.
Recognizing that is a substantial break. Maybe it's a good one. So this is why is that a greater break?
The question is one of, again, assuming it's within the fundamental right, the question then becomes one of justification. And I assume that the states would come in and they would say that there are concerns about consent and coercion. If there's a divorce from the second wife, does that mean the 4th wife has access to the child of the second wife? There are issues around who is it that makes the medical decisions, in the time of crisis. I assume there'd be lots of family disruption issues, setting aside issues of coercion and consent and so on, that just don't apply here where we're talking about 2 consenting adults who want to make that mutual commitment for as long as they shall be.
Yeah,
well, can I say something first?
Please.
Which is, in the 80s when I was writing op-eds for the San Francisco Examiner, I wrote, and I still think this way, I don't see any reason whatsoever why you can't have polygamous situations where you have one guy married to 3 women, one guy married to a guy and 2 women, which is what he described.
Or one woman married to 3 guys.
One woman married to 5 guys, or any of these things. The reason they don't look, besides it being Mormon, so that's, to some people, reason enough it shouldn't be a good idea. But the reason they don't like it is because of what she kind of described at the end is the nightmarish legal situation with one guy breaking up. We say you got the 4, like they were describing there. You have one of the 4 wants to get divorced from one of the 4, but not all of the 4, and so she's not going to be married. She's going to be married to 2 of them instead of 3 of them, and then when the taxes time comes, she doesn't want to pay her share to the group that's filing, and it's mostly a convenience for the state.
Yeah.
Then it's not a convenience for the public. It's a convenience for the state because it becomes nightmarish, the paperwork. And but I think it's a good point, and I think it's why not?
Yeah, I'm in agreement. There's no reason why the government needs to be involved in marriage anyway. There's who looks at
is taxes.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. And the funny thing is, we're waiting on some federal decision. Who gives a shit? The states, there's only 12 or 13 states left that don't recognize it, including the great state of Texas, who also don't recognize weed. So,
yeah, they probably got more potheads in Texas than California.
That Star Party was pretty good. Hey, man. Yeah, that song's great.
Yeah, I heard about you.
I'm totally baked. Yes, before we go to our break, I would like to read a little bit from producer Joe, who explains the Ottomania issue, why Turkey will not apologize to Armenia. Some very obvious things. I encourage you to read his entire note in the show notes. But first, here is our friend Chunk Yank. What's his name from the Young Turks? Chunk. No, is he Armenian?
Yeah. He's a Turk.
He's a Turk. Right. He's asked on C-SPAN on the call-in show.
Well, I've got some clips if you're going to go this way. So you're not going to get right to the donations.
Well, I just wanted to play. We discussed what Young Turk is. Young Turk is you, and I didn't even interrupt you, so I want you to explain again. What is a Young Turk?
The Young Turks was a named group that came during the era of the three pashas. They administered the dying Ottoman Empire in the 1910s to 1920 period. And the Young Turks were part of the group that, if you're going to go with the right reading of this, that were initiating to get the Christians out of Turkey. And the Christians included the Armenians.
Let's talk to Chunk.
CEO of the TYT Network. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me.
What's a Young Turk?
Well, Young Turks is the largest online news show in the world. We're now a network, the TYT Network, 30 different channels, largest network on YouTube, about 120 million views on YouTube and Facebook per month. But to your actual question of what a Young Turk is, it's a young progressive looking to overthrow the established system. And that's what we're looking to do here. I think Washington is enormously corrupt. So does our audience. So does 91% of Americans. So we're looking to change that system.
So
he forgets to mention the name comes from killers, roving band of killers. But that's okay, Chunk.
Well, he thinks of himself as that sort of guy. So the Germans.
Oh, I wanted to do the producer Joe email. Can I do that quick before you run?
Oh, no, I thought you...
I see your clips here. They're going to flow in perfectly.
Okay, hit
All
it.
Right. So producer Joe wrote a very eloquent piece. I don't know if you were... No, you weren't copied on it specifically. What the issue is, why Turkey will not apologize for the Armenian genocide. And please read the whole thing. I'm picking out two things that are of interest. One, he said, making an apology, it's not like just putting on a sad face and going, oh, I'm so sorry, because you have to have monuments, plaques, museums, and of course, reparations. The minute that happens, everybody wants to have money. The Germans paid, I guess, in today's money, billions in reparations, still going on today. Greece still demanding money from the Germans for World War II. That's valid, that you can't just say, oh, we're sorry, because you open up a can of worms that is unbelievable. And this is the one that blew me away, and I'm mad that I didn't see it. Time to get out the map, people. Take a look at what lies on the other side of Armenia. You have Turkey, Armenia, and then any guesses?
Well, you got Syria up there.
But how about Azerbaijan?
All right, so you got Azerbaijan.
And they want to have the complete Azerbaijan connection, which would have to run through that territory.
The pipeline.
Pipeline, yeah. That, when I saw that, I'm like, oh, we can't have that country, everything being official and recognized and all this. We can't do that. And then want to run a pipeline? No.
Well, that's why you'd also demonize the Kurds with your bogus analysis. These guys, the Kurds did it.
Well, here he also did write about the Kurds. So what the government did at the time of the Ottoman Empire did at the time of this genocide is they gave license to a number of different groups to go and rape, pillage, and kill. Amongst them were the Kurds. So yes, Kurds were a part of it, but they weren't the only ones by any means. Please read this. It's way too long to read on the show. Beautiful, beautiful explanation. And if anyone wants to comment on it or refute anything, we'd love to hear it. But it's
now, since you mentioned the Kurds, which is part of a litany that came across only recently, I now have to look at this and maybe debunk it as
it may be, but
Turkish, because the Turks are ridiculously all in on their story. And let's play this. The Germans have decided to say, okay, we give up. We're not going to support the Turks' arguments anymore. We know better. Mm-hmm. And we're going to recognize this as a genocide, which is really the issue. I don't think the apology is so much of the issue as the usage of the term, which may or may not bring reparations into play. I think that's specious. I'm not absolutely sure that there's no international law that I know of. If you change the term from a massacre to a genocide, that, now you got to pay us money.
It's annoying.
That's what they say is one part of the reason of not doing it. But let's play this because the Germans are interesting because there's a schism going on. Not to bring the pipelines in, it could have something to do with Russia and why they're doing this. But there's a schism in the country between the.
What is a schism?
A break, like a
chasm?
Split, schism, break, split. It's like a split, not a chasm.
Okay.
Chasm's a hole. It's deep.
Right.
It's like a schism.
Schism.
So you have one
It's like
side
schism.
taking sides. I'm on this side, you're on that side. All of a sudden, it's a schism.
Okay.
So the president of Germany and the chancellor of Germany on the other sides of this argument, and the parliament came up with this apology. And by the way, I have never seen the inside of the German parliament, but it's very it's modern in a, like, if the Nazis were still running the place, modern. But Mecco modern. It's got that open, deconstructed look. It's beautiful,
and
by any art standard.
Oh, I'm looking at it now.
So, Genocide Germans Part 1's a little long, but play.
Germany's parliament no longer wanted to follow the official line of Chancellor Merkel's government. Delegates from her own governing coalition launched a resolution that calls the mass killing of Armenians genocide. Berlin expects there will be a political price to pay in Ankara. Here in Germany, Turkish organizations have already announced demonstrations against what they see as defamation of their Ottoman history.
Well, Germany is home, as we indicated, to Europe's largest Turkish population. Some 3 million people in Germany have Turkish roots. Half of them have Turkish citizenship.
And many of them share their government's anger at Berlin, saying it's unfairly choosing sides. Some of that displeasure was palpable today at the capital's biggest mosque.
I'm looking at that picture. It also has a vortex dome.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Isn't it
new.
wild?
New World Order and the huge eagle.
Total New World Order.
Yeah, I love the Bundeseagle. It's nice, man. Well, yeah, that would look good on an armband, I'm thinking.
Play. This is this. I think this is some clips. This is number 2. I skipped 0, which is a long intro to the whole topic. But this is number 2. These are the Turks that they talk to, and there's a bunch of them. It's the same translator, so it sounds like one guy, but it's a series of people. And you can kind of see, and you have to remember that the Turks in Germany are a bunch of laborers that came over, and they settled down.
Guest laborers, they were called.
Guest laborers. Many became Germans if they could. Most of them are still Turks. But they're all in on the Turkish narrative, and they're not going to change their mind. So play Genocide Germans 2.
Relations between Germany and Turkey.
You can't just go and call it genocide without checking the facts. Germany's a democratic country, isn't it? It's difficult. I don't understand what the German government or President Gauck are getting at. He keeps on meddling in Turkish affairs. There's no proof that it's true.
Nearly everyone here has Turkish roots. The Islamic cemetery that adjoins the mosque was established back in 1866 for the Ottoman Empire. Turkish traditions are taken very seriously, as are Ankara's official positions.
We don't think that it was a genocide. That's a false accusation. There are 2 schools of thought on this. There are historians, even Armenian and Western historians, who show that people died on both sides.
Nobody here thinks Ankara will call the massacres a genocide anytime soon.
So we'll revisit this again in a year, and then a year after that. It's never going to end. These Armenians have long memories.
Well, the definition of genocide, the deliberate killing of a large group of people, especially those of a particular ethnic group or nation. Any way you look at it, that
sounds like a genocide
to me. Synonyms: mass murder, mass homicide, massacre. They still call it a massacre.
Yeah, they'll call it anything but the word
annihilation,
genocide.
Extermination, elimination, liquidation, eradication, decimation, butchery, bloodletting.
And we know decimation's wrong, by the way.
Yeah. Pogrom?
Pogrom, yeah.
Pogrom, never heard of that.
Yeah, oh, yeah. That's a, yeah.
Oh, okay, maybe this is it. A synonym for genocide is also Holocaust. Maybe they don't want to use these words because...
leads to the word Holocaust.
Yeah, and that's never good. Yeah, just say Hitler and we're all done. End of conversation. Well, it's, I like the pipeline part. I think that makes a lot of sense. But after 100 years, man, what are we doing? I know what we're doing. We're going to take a break.
Wait, before you do that. I want to mention something, which is, and I think that because we talked about this after the show, and you came up with probably the right answer to all this, and I'm going to bring it back into play.
By the way, we rarely talk about show topics after the show.
No, we rarely do, but this one we did because we were doing, when you do a a post-mortem, you do talk about the show. And when you have a topic and you dropped the ball.
Did I drop the ball?
I dropped the ball on something, and then I realized that I dropped the ball on something you should have, or were about to say, should have said, would have said, or could have said.
Right.
And that is why, because it was the Japanese still apologize to the Chinese. Now you remember.
Mm-hmm.
And the Turks won't apologize to the Armenians because, and I'm going to say it, at the end of the day, they still hate them.
Yeah, that is it. That is the bottom line. Hatred.
Yeah, they hate them. The Turks hate the Armenians, and they can make all this bull crap, say anything they want. Over in Germany, when that guy was quoted by saying, how can they say this is the democracy? Well, what's that got to do with anything? They hate them, and the Japanese still hate the Chinese.
Yes.
And that's that.
Totally agreed.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh, yeah, that'd be fun. No Agenda in the morning.
I believe the Japanese still hate the Koreans.
Yeah. Stop the hate, people. Stop the hate.
That's mutual.
Let's just stop the hate. Stop the hate.
Let's thank a few people for helping us out on show 717. Donald Borowski in Spokane, Washington. 12345.
Your favorite number.
And he, of course, I read his notes because he sends them
via check, handwritten.
Unofficial United Federation of Planets stationery.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So anyone who wants to note read, they can do this. Here is $123.45 to aid the cause. I hope to attain knighthood before the end of summer. 2 shows per week is not enough, guys. Not enough No Agenda for me. So I'm listening to all the shows from 2014. Just finished 666. So it's all the shows from the beginning. Currently on number 54. You can get through those quick. They're not that long. Dan Borowski, WA6OMI.
I got to tell you that since we've been doing the show with the donations and you explained how the electronic check works, I've been paying my bills that way. I kind of used to be a fan of writing the paper check and putting it in the mail. And I'm doing it now too, sending, checks are delivered. I like it.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, now we have a note from Don Silva,
Sir Chase?
That was Daniel Borowski. Never mind, I got Silva's here.
Yeah.
I'm just confused. Sir Chase, District of Columbia, $100. Don't give out my name. Say Sir Chase.
District of Douchedom, he says.
District of Douchedom. Oh, that's what it is. Okay. I finally got the cities to stretch out a little bit.
Good.
A little bit. Brandon Chisholm in Vallejo, California, $100. Grebulon.
Hey.
Sir Grebulon from Tel Aviv.
Haven't heard from Grebulon in a while. Nice.
Oh, I know what he's up to.
Good.
So he's working on taking over the world, I think. Eric Asbury in Brandon, Florida, $89.10. Bill Bean in Ada, Oklahoma, $72. Sir Herb Lamb, we haven't heard from him. Well, maybe we haven't. Sugar Hill, Georgia, $71.50. Chris Moore in Friday, Ohio, Findlay, Ohio, very famous town actually. Chris Moore, 70. Eric Bird, Baltimore, Maryland, right there in the thick of things. Send an email in the sad state of affairs. We have to dig that one up.
I have the email, and
66.
I've also put that one in the show notes.
Okay, good.
A very, very eloquent email. It's under the Baltimore heading in the show notes, 717.noagendanotes.com.
Donald Kuhl in Windham, New Hampshire, 5555. David Dietrich in Round Rock, Texas, double nickels on the dime, along with Josh McDonald, parts unknown, double nickels on the dime. Nice. Fernando de los Reyes. Now, these are people that came in with the May Day special donation of $51.
The palindrome, yes.
It's a palindrome. I'm going to read all these folks off.
Folks, they must be white.
Sorry?
If you say folks, they must be white.
Folks.
Starting with Fernando, the white guy.
Fernando de los Reyes. In Sierra Vista, Arizona. Brandon Stewart in Dallas, Texas. James Moore in San Pablo, California. There's I think, a well-managed little city. It could be wrong. Peter, I'll talk about them later. Peter Vidor in Carmel, Indiana. Sir Earl Nussbaum in Virginia Beach. Earl, Earl. Sir. Anyway, Thomas Nussbaum. Jeffrey Gilbrecht in Cordova, Tennessee. Sir Sam Lung in Toronto, Ontario. Mark Hampton, LaPorte, Texas. Joseph Kruger in Montgomery, Alabama. And
sorry, I had not noticed him on the list.
Yes, well,
hold on. Here we go. I got a new one for him.
I'm shocked to find Grand Duke Stephen Pelsmacher donating in here.
Serge Grand Duke Stephen Pelsmacher from Belgium, 5115. Michael Wiklund in Sweden. Yancey Summer Hour. I don't know how else to pronounce it. Houston, Texas.
Summeror.
Joe New York Inc. in Brooklyn. Anonymous in Mesa, Arizona. Derek Neese in Alpharetta, Georgia. John Aiken in Babson Park, Florida. James Mullen in Franklin, Wisconsin. And he's got a douchebag call out to Diane Sawyer for stereotyping conservatives during the Bruce Jenner interview.
Drunk again, drinking cyan, drunk again, douchebag.
You know, I don't know that we highlighted it, but we did talk about her. Shocked, I tell you, by thinking he's a Republican.
We talked about it. We talked about it.
What man, Republican male, would turn themselves into or become a woman? It's a funny stereotype.
Have you read all the? First of all, #1 show in the ratings on the evening.
Oh, for sure.
And his reality show starts in July.
Perfect.
But here's what do you think the #1 show does in total viewers? Total viewership
on what,
ABC. ABC. It was ABC.
But what day of the week?
It was Tuesday, I think.
The #1 show on a Tuesday night should be, I would say, 15 million.
6.
No, it's not #1 then. There's 6. No way.
That was the #1 in prime time. 6.
Well, that was a lousy night because NCIS does 10 and 11 million every time they.
Yeah, it was actually funny. It was 6,666,000. I kid you not.
Seems dubious.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Daniels in Dallas, Texas. Samuel Lichtenstein in New York City. Paulo in Grand Cayman. Okay. First time donor, as a matter of fact. Evgeny Kovalev, New York City. Sven Middlecoop in Middlecoop
in Delft-Gouw. Yeah, you got it.
And now these are $50 donors to finish this show 717 off. Whitney Smith in Roanoke, Virginia. David Dural in Malta, New York. Christopher O'Brien in Brighton, Massachusetts. Ross Turpin in Troy, Kansas. Sir Peter Totes to you in parts unknown. Gerald in Nabonet in Union, South Carolina. Ronald Maxedon.
It's not in Abney?
Inabene.
Herb Lamb just sent me a note. He says, you're doing a lot of repeats on today's spreadsheet for that actually were from Sunday.
Yeah, I don't know how that is.
Okay.
I know there was none of these 5150s were from Sunday.
No. I don't know. Okay.
No, I don't. I think there's just a lot of repeats, and I'll say that because I'm looking at the numbers. I look at the spreadsheets, and I know when I do those because that happens once in a while. You send the wrong thing, and there's too many names. And it doesn't make sense, and the numbers don't add up. But these numbers add up.
Okay.
So unless they're,
I'm just the messenger.
He's just, the thing is like Peter Totes. He's always donating.
Yeah. I know. Stop donating. You're confusing us.
Don't stop donating. Ronald Maxton in Columbus, Ohio. Bryn Evans in Berwick, Victoria. Sir Max Abbott in Edmonton, Alberta. And finally, Fleet Larson in Bettendorf, Iowa. Shad Rich and Bendigo, who's also always donating. Shad Rich.
Yep.
And finally, last but not least, and I know they didn't donate before. I never heard of this, and it's right down the street. The Martinez Animal Hospital in Martinez, California, the city that invented the mixed drink cocktail.
It's kind of cool. Martinez Animal Hospital.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Nice. I like that.
I had to double check to make sure we hadn't taken a dog to the vet, or something.
Nice.
Overpaid.
Also, thank you to everyone who came in under $50, mainly for anonymity, but also our monthlies. These are really highly appreciated. If everyone was on a monthly, we'd be in good shape. Even if everyone who reads the newsletter was on a monthly, we'd be in good shape, but it just doesn't quite work.
Actually, we'd be in great shape if everyone who gets the newsletter.
Yeah.
About half of them read it.
Yeah. So thank you all very much. Do we need a jobs? Usually people want to...
there wasn't one request, but let's do it anyway.
Let's do a general jobs karma for everybody. I think that's a good idea.
Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
If you wake up with the blues, trying to fill your day with news, there's one thing you must remember: no agenda in the morning.
For a healthy, balanced news diet, try noagendashow.com.
Dvorak.org/NA. It's your birthday.
And we say happy birthday to Leonard Smalls, turning the magic number 33 today. Frenzy Designs, 40, celebrating today. Greg Ulan, happy birthday to him. And Evgeny Kovalev, 32 tomorrow on May Day, May 1st. Happy birthday from all your friends here at the best podcast in the universe.
It's your birthday, yeah.
Then we have one knighting. David Roberts, please come to the podium, John. Thank you. I got mine here. My kind sir, thank you very much for supporting the best podcast in the universe in the amount of $1,000 or more. Hereby today, I am very proud to pronounceate thee Sir David, Knight of the Yellow Rose. Please join us here for your hookers and blow, Rent Boys and Chardonnay. We've got drama and DMT, bad science and perky breasts, Johnny Walker Green Label, video games and vaporizers, progressive rock and Russian Imperial Stout, puppies, Taylor Vintage Port, 3 geishas and a bucket of fried chicken, vodka in the middle, of bong hits and bourbon, sparkling cider and escorts, and the mutton and mead. Go to noagendanation.com/rings and give us your info so Eric the Show can get that off to you. And please tweet out a picture when you receive it so we can retweet that and show everybody you are a knight of the No Agenda Roundtable. It's real.
I have a TV clip talking about giving me kudos for watching everyday TV.
Yeah, and being infected.
One of my favorite shows.
CSI.
Suck show. It's CSI Cyber.
You've been watching this?
Yeah, I watch it on and off.
It's what you do. It's what you do.
They have like this. It's actually well written. They're kind of ham-handed with their tech. They make some errors, but they got some. I probably have a consultant that says, nah, it's something else. But they had this little thing, which I did look it up afterwards because I've never heard of such a thing. But this is the fat kid. There's one fat. This is like a classic. The team of hackers that work for the government includes a fat guy who's obviously, plays a lot of video games, but he's
stereotypical.
He speaks way too erudite for a real fat programmer. And then you have the skinny programmer, fat program kind of thing. Anyway, the fat guys bust into the airport to tell people to unhook their phones because there's a problem somewhere, and it looks like it's in this particular kiosk where people are charging their phones at the airport.
FBI, everyone unplugged.
That I'm done. FBI, everyone unplug. Yeah, that's gonna work. Oh man.
FBI, everyone unplugged.
My phone is dead.
Hey, don't unplug my phone. It's dead.
Tell me something, sir. Have you ever heard of juice jacking?
No, and I don't care to.
You see this cord? It charges your phone, right? Nice, safe. You think it's your friend. But you see this connector on the end?
Yeah, it's a USB plug. Not exactly groundbreaking stuff, guy.
Maybe this will impress you. Most people don't realize that this cord has 4 ports. 2 for power, which charge your phone, and 2 for data, which transfer... Yes, you guessed it, your data. Now, what do you think your phone was doing just now, guy?
Charging.
Wrong. It's stealing your data. You just wanted to charge, and you had no idea that a hacker had installed a juice jacking device that allows them to steal your credit cards, your photos, your videos, everything on your phone. Now, if you just go get in line and talk to that short gentleman trying to pull off the purple paisley tie, he's going to take the malicious script off your phone for you. Problem solved. Thank you.
Huh. I was not familiar with this, but I see there's lots of information about it.
It's pretty obscure, and in public places, you have to have a machine mounted at the charging station.
Yeah, well, the charging station, it could be in the kiosk, yeah.
And it's generally used to, I was thinking about the use for this idea, and the idea is you plug in, you think you're hooked to a charging station, and it's not. It's a computer on the other side, then it lights up your machine. If you have, I guess, the right software to make this work, you can just suck off the information off the phone. The way he put it sounds like they're going to suck. Why would you do this? What, in my case, because I was thinking about it, what would it do to my phone? I don't have anything. I don't have credit cards on it. He says credit cards. There's no credit cards on 99.9% of phones that I know of. Do you have a credit card? All your credit card data on your phone? Do you?
No, I have. Well, yes, I have one card for the Apple Pay, which I've been testing.
Okay,
so technically, yes.
Okay, well, that's I would never do that.
Yeah, but I'm all in. No, I'm all in.
You're all in.
And you know what? Nothing's happened.
Of course not.
All I get is, hey, I saw you on a dating website. You look really hot. Give me a call. That's what's happened ever since I've been all in on this crap. And I get bogus dating invites.
So I'm thinking, what could be the main use for this? What you do is, it seems to me, if I was running this scam and I could have access to everyone's phone, I would just take every contact list I could get and turn it into a giant spamming list. And that's all you can do with it.
Interesting you bring that up.
But let me finish, just for people out there. You can buy a charge-only USB cable if you're fearful.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, go on.
Well, I wanted to say that the iPhone 6, if it detects a computer, it asks you specifically if you want to trust this computer. That's new. I had not seen that before. Usually, I would never do that. I had the iPhone. I had the 4. That's when I stopped after that. You plug it in and iTunes opens, everything starts syncing. It's completely no good. But now it actually asks you, because I plugged it into the desktop here, and I just wanted to charge it and wanted to transfer. So that does ask you. I was going to say something else now. I know. Though I do see a Krebs on Security note about this from 2011.
Yeah, I never heard. I don't think this is a plague because I never heard of it until I watched this show.
But I like the name Juice Jacking.
I like Juice Jacker.
It works.
Sounds like somebody who goes into Jamba Juice and steals drinks.
It sounds like something for the month of May is what it sounds like to me. And along with that, yeah, I know. So you were talking about you would steal the contact list. Interesting you mentioned that. Facebook has shut down the Friends Data API. And I'm pretty sure I know why. Is because every single app in the universe that you install, the first thing it does is it says, oh, we're going to take your contacts. And I think Facebook is seeing that their true value is being the Rolodex of the universe and having everybody's contact data. And they're shutting that down now. They may sell it at a cost, but you're not going to be able to just get it out with an app anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, wise.
Yeah.
I think the contact lists are valuable.
I was always very protective of it. I'm like, fuck it. Everyone else is sending my name everywhere. Screw you. Here, take it all. I don't care.
Okay.
That's what LinkedIn did right away.
What did LinkedIn do right away?
It says, would you install the app? We're taking your contact list.
Oh.
It says, find other people you know. And you say yes.
I refuse to play that game.
Yeah, you say yes, and it goes, scanning your contacts. What? Uploading your contacts. What? Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, that's why
I don't care because big data doesn't work. It's poo-poo, doo-doo. It's not. It's a pipe dream. It's not going to make any difference. What will make a difference, man? Have you seen that Apple Watch commercial? You have to see this commercial. There's no audio, no spoken word in it. It's like I'm living in Gattaca, the movie Gattaca.
Gattaca.
It's slave bracelet. And people are all happy. Oh, yes. Poop, going to my hotel room. Poop, I'm paying with. Poop, 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 poop. Slave bracelets, slave jewelry, as predicted. Although when Lindsay Lohan got her slave anklet.
Right, about 3 years ago on the show, we probably did a month or two of these companies that make these little anklets that you wear, so they can see where you all are all the time. Yeah. It's you're drunk. If you're drunk, caught drunk, you have to wear these.
Right. It'll tell you. It'll see you're drunk. You can't drive.
And
your car won't start.
I was at some event. I think it was in Florida where they was having a coincident convention at the hotel with the event I was at, and it was all these companies that sell these things. And I got to talk and chat with all these guys, and it was pretty funny, actually, because they were so oblivious to the nature of the business they were in. Yeah, this thing, this has a longer battery life. They were a big concern. Slave bracelets. Yeah, and people are all in. And if you watch some of these tech shows, and not just the one that you watch and the one I go on, but just all of them.
You can say this week
talking about this watch from Apple.
Oh, I know.
Everybody. It's not one or two guys. It's everybody.
Yeah. Well, it's not just Apple. It's also it's the big companies. I'm preparing a daily source code. I know it's been a while. Particularly because of the sorry-ass, sad state of affairs in all technology journalism. But I finally heard Molly Wood on the NPR show.
Oh, she finally got a segment in.
Yeah, and I was in the car, so I didn't clip it, and I forgot to do it. This is a money show, and she was at the Microsoft Developers Conference, and she hasn't done Vocal Fry yet, so she's still Molly the way we know her. But then the guy, the host, he says, Microsoft, he said they have a bajillion dollars and they're ginormous. He said it in one sentence, an NPR money show.
You
yes.
Didn't clip that binormous, gajillion.
I gotta clip it for Sunday. It was like, how can you take yourself seriously? And you certainly make Molly look stupid. Ginormous with gazillions of dollars. Lame-o. Since we're doing tech news without the jingle, I'm very happy to announce that the FCC, it looks like they're going to have a comment period. They will be releasing the 2200 meter band for amateur use.
Oh, nice.
It is nice because this is Tesla stuff. This is propagation through Earth. Right, 1 watt, and you can go transatlantic. It's. I mean, you do need a, 200 meters of antenna.
Yeah, you need an antenna
low by the ground. But yeah, it's exciting. I love that stuff. So finally, we can do more than just bits of my experimental license. And
you have to have what do you have to be able to qualify to go on there and play around?
Yeah, you need at least general. And just a tip for everybody, with the Nepal disaster, amateur radio operators have created a communications bridge between the local hams who are using VHF rate, so that's FM like in the 400 megahertz spectrum. That's more line of sight. They're using that because really there's no communications. And on 14.205 megahertz is the emergency frequency. And it's pretty interesting. And you can, if you go to websdr.com, WEBSDR.com, and just click on the first link there, it's the Dutch receiver, and you get a little radio, and you can tune it to 14.205, and you can listen in.
Huh.
And it's now it mainly consists of guys going, "Stay off this frequency. This is an emergency frequency. Emergency frequency." I haven't heard a lot of.
Sounds right.
It's like, we're trying to keep this frequency clear, trying to keep it clear for emergencies. And then
what is it? Web SDR, web software defined radio. Is it? I tried. It took me web. I'll try it again.
WEBSDR.com. WebSDR.com.
XDR.
S Sierra.
I get storehp.com every time.
Hold on. Web, maybe it's .org.
the HP store.
Web SDR. I thought it was, maybe it's .org. Hold on a second. I could be wrong. I'm sorry, .org. Thank you. Thank you for checking that. There you see the top one, which is from the University of Twente, Enschede. Then, and that's the one of the first, and it's powerful. And then you get the spectrum, and then in that frequency box, just highlight that and just type in 14.205. You can do .00, but you don't have to, and you'll start hearing it.
14.205.
Mm-hmm. And hit return.
I'll listen to that later.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you what you're going to hear.
Yeah. Get off the
keep off the frequency, people.
Get off the frequency. Yeah, that's pretty much what's
keep off that frequency, man. We can't have any of this.
Brought this up in the tech news segment. So I get this press release from some operation that's one of the fronts for net neutrality.
What is it? Tech Freedom? Which one was it?
I don't remember. I'd have to go to my...
FTF.
Whatever it was, they were calling out Rand Paul for being against, net neutrality, and I know why he is. Same reason that many people are, which is it's a government takeover of the internet, which is what nobody wanted, but that's what everyone's getting. Mm-hmm. And I should mention, by the way, Popcorn Time, which is one of the kind of phenomenons going on right now.
This is the torrent app, the peer-to-peer
torrent app.
Have you been able to use it? I haven't been able to get it to work.
Music. I haven't really tried to use it yet because there's nothing on there I wanted to watch, but I should probably check it out. Mm-hmm. Whatever the case, and I said it and I meant it. Mm-hmm. They were blasting the guy, so I decided, because I call congressmen and senators' offices all the time to get a hold of the chief of staff or somebody who I can get a hold of.
Yeah, but please explain how this works. You've mentioned this before on the program in the past, and I think it's very valuable, and I wish certainly Americans in Gitmo Nation would do this more often.
Listed in the congressional offices. They got you get their numbers effortlessly. They never answer, of course, because they got staff to do the answering, and you could talk to them for a few minutes, introduce yourself, tell them who you are and what you want to talk to them about, and then listen or tell you to get lost. So I decided to call, and because I have all these net neutrality columns that I've written here and there, and I was going to turn them on to them because there's good arguments in there if Paul has to defend himself in some debate situation. So I figured I'd help him.
This, by the way, is what a good citizen does.
What a good citizen does. And so I call and get an answering machine. They don't even have enough people to answer the phone at this Washington.
You think it was an answering machine or voicemail?
It was an answering machine. Well,
with the cassette?
I don't know what the mechanism was. It could have been, but there was. It was the analog equivalent of an answering machine.
Got
it. Because the beep and everything. So they said, no, we don't take these. We're not taking anybody's calls. And if you want to do something, go to the website and send some email. Which is like that, just ineffective.
No good.
So I left a message, not a long message, but a short, detailed message saying who I was and what might be useful for them. Mm-hmm. And gave a number and an email address. And that was, a while back, and I never heard back. They're ineffective. They suck. They're stupid. They're dumb.
That's actually
this guy running for president's a joke.
But
all over this.
It is not how it's supposed to work. They should be listened. They represent the people, but yet they don't want to talk to the people.
Yeah, well, most of them are glad to, at least the staff is glad to chat, but these guys don't. They got a firewall against, you can't talk to the staff. So I lost.
Sorry. Well, thank you for trying. Thank you for your courage.
I tried. I did my thing.
I have one last series. I don't know if you had a chance to see it. It was emailed to both of us. And when I saw this, I thought, it's dynamite. 2 shorter clips and 1 long clip, but it's well worth listening to. Robert F. Kennedy. And he is, now is he the junior? He is the son of Bobby Jr., brother.
I think he's a little kid. I think he is. Robert Kennedy's kid, right. I think.
And we have scoffed at him previously when we had the organized so-called spontaneous Climate Day March in New York. And he's all in on climate change, all in, which is disturbing when you're about to hear this because some sense is coming out. We also made a joke about his voice, but I believe he had throat cancer, so that was inappropriate. But we apologize.
Yeah, it's inappropriate, but it's still notable.
Well, but I will say because of his voice, his
Robert
vocal
F.
problem.
Kennedy and Ethel Kennedy's kid.
Right. Yeah, but he's always been big in the special. I've met him. There you go. I met him at a Kleiner Perkins dinner once before we banged some of the girls at the office. Just kidding. He's all in the Special Olympics, right? Nice guy. And he's all in on climate change, but he comes on Bill Maher's show, and he's promoting a movie, which you definitely need to see, and I think there's a book associated with it, and it's about thimerosal, the mercury hamburger helper in vaccines. And that is not mentioned, by the way. But
I thought that thimerosal was a preservative, not a helper.
I'm sorry, you're right. It's a preservative. What was the other? The other thing was the preservative.
Right, and the other one we used to harp on. I don't remember the name of it, unfortunately.
So there's still a lot of mercury as a preservative in vaccines. Here's the intro. I'm going to play this in 3 clips. Here's the intro. And he didn't get to sit at the table. This was the opening segment where he sits down, the opening interview. And of course, this is he comes from a legacy of the Democrat Party, yet he seems to be against vaccines, which he isn't really. But the information he gives is very interesting to hear from this person in this setting, and we'll see how it is responded to. Here's the intro.
Well, okay, so I saw you have a full-page ad that you printed in USA Today about this issue, thimerosal, which is the preservative, the mercury-based preservative in vaccines. We'll get to that in a second, but I want to put it in context. You are one of the greatest environmental crusaders we've ever had, so I'm assuming... I don't think anyone would dispute that. So your history with mercury goes back a long way. I mean, you're into the vaccine thing now, but you've gotten it out of rivers, right?
I got dragged into the vaccine issue kind of kicking and screaming because I was going around the country suing coal-burning power plants and talking about the dangers of mercury coming from those plants. And almost everywhere I stopped or I spoke, there were women there, very eloquent, articulate, grounded people who were saying, look, you have to look at the biggest vector of mercury in American children now is coming from vaccines, and we need you to look at the science.
I like this a lot because what he did here is he said, it's not your typical kook on a podcast. It's eloquent women, very smart. Whenever you need to just say eloquent women, educated, eloquent women. Oh, we're all in. Good move by him.
And I resisted for a long time, but I started reading the science after a while. And I'm very comfortable reading science. I've brought hundreds and hundreds of successful lawsuits. Almost all of them have involved scientific controversy. So I'm good. I'm comfortable reading science and dissecting it and discerning the difference between junk science and real science. And when I started looking at it, what I saw was very alarming, which we were giving huge amounts of mercury to our children. A lot of it has been taken out of vaccines, but there's still an extraordinary amount still in the vaccines, and particularly the flu vaccine.
In particular, the flu vaccine. And Maher did not respond to that at all. Now, this is a long segment, but I really wanted to play this thing in its entirety. What you will hear is very smart. I don't know. He seems to be all in on vaccines itself, but he gives a lot of data about a lot of problems that have occurred with children. And his solution is let's get the mercury out of the vaccines. But listening to the data that he presents, there's a lot of interesting things that we have discussed for years on this program.
We spent 3 years looking at the scientific literature, and the scientific literature is virtually unanimous, Bill, about the dangers of thimerosal and the links between thimerosal and an epidemic of neurological disorders that are now afflicting American children: ADD, ADHD, speech delay, language delay, hyperactivity disorder, ASD, and autism.
Woo! He pulled out the autism. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. And you would have expected Maher to jump all over him, but there's some respect.
All of which began in 1989, which was the year that they changed the vaccine schedule. And we've seen animal studies toxicological studies, clinical studies, cadaver studies, they all say that.
But you're not anti-vax. You vaccinate.
I am very pro-vaccine.
Right. You just want to get the mercury.
Yeah, all of my kids. I had all my kids vaccinated. I want to see government policies that promote full coverage vaccines. The only way to do that is to have safe vaccines and to have a credible regulatory process with regulators with integrity, and we don't have that today.
Now listen to this. Listen, Obama bots are applauding about how, yes, you're speaking truth to power, but really this has been the narrative, the conversation all along, is vaccines seem to be causing autism and other neurological diseases. But somehow if you're a Kennedy and you present it, like, I'm not anti-vax, what kind of word is that? But I just don't want kids to die.
Buzzword. Anti-vax is a buzzword for Republican douchebag.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the movie that I saw is about how the CDC is corrupt. But even if the CDC is corrupt, why is the World Health Organization and the National Academy of Sciences and the American Pediatrician Society?
I think this is hilarious. And I don't have this. I'm shocked. There's corruption in the World Health Organization. Really, Bill Maher?
And scientists from other countries. Why are they lining up on the other side of the issue?
CDC really kind of controls the field. And CDC, there's well, let me explain what's happening at CDC, because then you can see how it is pervasive in these other bureaucratic institutions too. There's been 4 separate scathing federal studies about the CDC, and all of them by the United States Senate, United States Congress, the Inspector General of HHS, and the Office of Research Integrity last year. They paint a picture of CDC as a cesspool of corruption, as an organization that's been completely taken over by the vaccine industry.
Have we seen this report anywhere, John? Have you heard of this government report?
I haven't heard about it. We need to get a copy.
Yeah. This is pretty well. We have seen the collusion with scientists and the World Health Organization with the swine flu. I'll let him continue.
By the vaccine industry. And there's 2 divisions at CDC where the corruption is most important. The first is the division that chooses which vaccines to add to the schedule. So when you and I were kids, we got 3 to 5 vaccines. My kids got 57 inoculations from 16 vaccines.
This is the kind of data that people need to be hearing about, because we all but Bill Maher, of course, I got vaccines, I didn't die, but look at what's on the schedule now and what's coming.
Why did that happen? Why are new vaccines added to the schedule?
We know the answer, don't we, John?
Money.
And there are 271 new vaccines in the CDC pipeline that are due to be added to that schedule. In 1989, it suddenly became very, very lucrative to put a vaccine on the schedule.
Oh, what have we discussed for years on this program? What happened in 1989?
Well, I believe that's at least a period in which the liability laws were changed regarding these folks.
Because the year before...
I should say thugs.
Yeah, thugs is correct.
These drug company thugs.
The year before, Congress made it illegal for Americans to sue vaccine companies, no matter how badly injured they were from the vaccines. They gave them a shield against any liability. Suddenly, vaccines became very, very lucrative. And you've got the federal government ordering 200 million people to buy your product. There is no advertising, no marketing, and you can't be sued.
What a great business. Shit, yeah. USA.
So those new vaccines worth $1 billion a year to some of these companies. We would hope that the people who add those vaccines to the schedule would be kind of geeky science types who are only concerned with human health. But that's not how it works. Most of them are vaccine industry insiders, and I'm going to give you an example. In 1999, Dr. Paul Offit, who's the consummate vaccine...
Yeah, I've seen him on TV.
Yeah,
sure.
And he's the leading face for the vaccine industry. He sat on one of these committees that added the rotavirus vaccine to the schedule. And he owned a rotavirus patent. So 6 years later, he was able, and he voted, he didn't recuse himself. He voted to add them to the schedule. 6 years later, he sold his patent for $182 million. He told Newsweek that it was like winning the lottery. So the Inspector General's report said that 64% of the people who sit on those committees have the same kind of conflicts that Dr. Offit had, and that as many as 97% of them may have those conflicts because they didn't fill out their conflict disclosure forms.
There you go. That's the meat of what he said. But I like most of that. I'm not necessarily all in.
I like the way Maher has. He's like, oh, great.
Well,
this guy.
I do have one shorter clip. And this is Maher tried to rebut or he made no sense and actually sounded like an incredible a-hole. You tell me what you think he's trying to say in this, but it sounded to me like this is a very typical Obama bot. And remember, he gave $1 million to the Obama re-election PAC. Just a very strange comeback to this, which shows that there is no real comeback to the way Kennedy explained this.
Why can't we have a kind of a grand bargain on this? It just seems like we're calling each other kooks and liars, and it seems like...
no, that would be you calling all Republicans and people like Andrew Wakefield kooks and liars. I don't think it really comes from the other side.
And liars, and it seems like common sense that vaccines, I mean, even the Marisol probably don't hurt most people. I mean, if they did, we'd all be dead because there are in a lot of vaccines that we all took. But some do. Obviously, some minority get hurt by this stuff. I don't understand why this is controversial, why we have this emotional debate about something that there is science there. It astounds me that liberals, who are always suspicious of corporations, and you just laid out that case, and defending minorities, somehow when it comes to this minority that's hurt, it's like, you know what, shut the fuck up and let me take every vaccine that Merck wants to shove down my throat.
What is he trying to say?
Wow. That's a good one. It's like a non sequitur. It's like he's saying one thing and...
It sounded like first he was saying, oh, it's just a minority, fuck him. But then he kind of...
I have no idea. It was just, his mind is scrambled.
Yeah.
I had a clip like that of somebody's talking something stupid.
Isn't that what most of the show is?
Yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah,
indeed.
I think unless you got something.
Well, I do have one thing. I'm a little annoyed. I'm becoming on the... everyone's so all in on this Pope Francis guy.
Yeah, with his, what is it called again? The
ecumenical whatever.
Yeah, that thing.
This one has really got me. This is like, why is this an issue? This guy's supposed to be like a spiritual leader and a guy who's trying to translate what God thinks and all the rest of it.
I would like to remind you, when I predicted he would be the Pope, I said this was going to be part of it, part of the socialist agenda, part of the New World Order.
Here is your prediction coming true.
That's sad.
Pope Francis has spoken out in favor of equal pay for women. At his weekly audience in the Vatican, he said the discrepancy in wages was a scandal that Christians should reject.
Yeah.
Because we've debunked that whole argument about equal pay on the show, showing the data, and this just is a created pile of crap.
Right. No one believes
But
us.
why is he... What has he got to do with it?
What's love got to do with it?
What's love got to do with it? I should play another song.
Yeah. I liked your songs, man. You should do more of that. That's very good. That is a perfect way to explain history.
Yeah.
I think there's something new going
only
on.
People don't care about history. The way she went on, I said, that reminds me of a song. Okay, I probably have a couple of things.
No, we're good. We're gonna save it all. We're good. We're gonna save it all for.
We'll talk about the Iranian takes a ship. Everyone's all panicked about that, but apparently it involves some legal issue with the owner of the ship owing them money.
Well, here's what I'd say to that: no worries, citizen. You'll be safe until Sunday. Don't you think?
Be safe until Sunday.
Safe until Sunday. Fact. Remember us at Dvorak.org/NA. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you, chat room. They loved you today, John, by the way. They loved your songs as well. Coming to you from FEMA Region 6 in the capital of the Drone Star State, Austin, Tejas. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley in the Tower of Terror, I also love the chat room, always have. I'm John C. Dvorak.
We'll talk to you again on Sunday right here on No Agenda.
I'm shocked to find mac and cheese going on here.
Bingo, boom, boom, chag-a-lack-a-lack, boom, 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 chag-a-lack, boom, boom.
I'm Joe Biden, and thank you for taking the time to listen.
Adios, mofo.
I don't care if Google knows everything. I want Google. The more Google knows about me, the more useful Google Now is. It tells me my bill is due for American Express tomorrow, and I mean it tells me all sorts of stuff. It says I see you're leaving tomorrow on a plane flight. Here you could get. Here's your. It tells me all sorts. I love that. It's ex machina. I want the Google bot to know everything about me. I want to have sex with it.
The best podcast in the universe. Dvorak.org/NA.
Amen. Fist bump. Hands clapping. Thumbs up.